Chapter 2342. Inside the reincarnation crack. The whimpering sound made one's scalp numb. The sweeping force was even more terrifying. Lin Tian was shrouded by the terrifying sweeping force in an instant. It was as if a part of the world was pressing down on his shoulders. The weight and pressure were too terrifying. It wrapped him up and dragged him towards the reincarnation crack. His expression was ruthless. His left eye of destiny trembled slightly. His body immediately turned into nothingness. That boundless sweeping force passed through his body. Immediately after, the eye of destiny trembled slightly again. He teleported behind Luanhui King. Dong! Appearing behind Luanhui King, he didn't make any unnecessary movements. He directly threw a punch at Luanhui King. Luanhui King tilted his head. Facing Lin Tian's teleportation attack, his reaction speed was frightening. His eyes were cold. The reincarnation Dao pattern in his eyes glistened. There won't be a third time. As his words fell, a large amount of reincarnation light gushed out behind him. This reincarnation light was extremely vast and turbulent. It immediately blocked Lin Tian's punch and blasted onto Lin Tian's body. With a bang, Lin Tian was sent flying again. His blood splattered across the universe. He was seriously injured. However, his expression didn't change. His Rinnegan and Eye of Destiny trembled slightly. The reincarnation Heavenly River appeared. A vortex of fate appeared and pressed down on Luanhui King. Roar! In the reincarnation Heavenly River, there were more than 10,000 reincarnation beasts. They were summoned by him with his Rinnegan. These reincarnation beasts were intertwined with a terrifying aura. They rushed towards Luanhui King from different directions. Luanhui King snorted coldly. The reincarnation blood sea was extremely terrifying. Just like before, the reincarnation Heavenly River, the vortex of fate, and the reincarnation beasts were all annihilated in the blink of an eye. It was also at this moment. With a loud clang, the ear-piercing sword whistled. Lin Tian took out the reincarnation sword at this moment. The endless divine patterns on the sword bloomed with immortal holy light at the same time. He held the sword hilt with both hands and slashed down violently. This sword was extremely powerful. This sword was extremely sharp. With a swoosh, the universe space was almost cut into two. The glaring reincarnation sword gang seemed to be about to shatter the world. In the blink of an eye, this sword aura landed in front of Luanhui Wang. It pierced through the reincarnation light around Luanhui Wang's body and pierced through it. Purple blood splattered everywhere. Clang! The sword chime rang out again, shaking the heavens. After piercing through Luanhui Wang with his sword, Lin Tian did not stop at all. Holding the reincarnation sword, he once again slashed out a destructive sword aura. This sword had been forged for him by his master, the Human King. It was already extremely powerful. Not long ago, he had fused it with the immortal Emperor Pagoda, which was made from the Hong Meng Heavenly Crystal. The sacred runes of faith in the immortal Emperor Pagoda had also fused with the Sword of Samsara. This had allowed the Sword of Samsara to experience the baptism of faith over the past few decades and become even more powerful. The destructive reincarnation sword aura broke through a large area of the universe and arrived in front of Luanhui King in the blink of an eye. Once again, it shattered the reincarnation defense outside of the opponent's body and penetrated into the opponent's body, bringing out a large amount of purple blood. My king! This, far away, Xian Tian and Xian Di could not help but tremble. Their king had been penetrated twice in the blink of an eye. It was also at this moment that a sonorous sound rang out again. Lin Tian waved the reincarnation sword. The reincarnation light and destiny light were attached to the divine sword. As he waved the reincarnation sword, an even sharper reincarnation sword aura was slashed out. Don't be too arrogant. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold. The pierced wounds on his body were instantly healed. Behind him, a large crack appeared. A huge millstone was drawn out from within, intertwining with endless reincarnation light. This millstone was like the gear of heaven and earth. It could support the operation of heaven and earth, but it also seemed like it could destroy heaven and earth. With a swoosh, the reincarnation sword aura that Lin Tian had slashed down was shattered in an instant. Following that, the destructive reincarnation light vibrated from the huge millstone and rippled towards Lin Tian like water ripples. Wherever it passed, a large area of the universe was annihilated on the spot, never to be restored. Reincarnation Disc. Extremely far away, Xian Tian and Xian Di revealed an excited and respectful expression. Naturally, they recognized the millstone that Luanhui Wang took out. The destructive reincarnation light pressed towards Lin Tian. Wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. Lin Tian took a step back. Holding the reincarnation sword with both hands, he activated it with all his strength, causing the reincarnation sword to erupt with an even more terrifying sword might. He was not unfamiliar with the reincarnation disc that Luanhui Wang took out. When he comprehended reincarnation, he had seen it before. During the last round of his heavenly tribulation, there were also traces of this millstone. It was extremely terrifying. It seemed to be something that was nurtured in reincarnation. However, at this moment, he was very clear that the reincarnation disc that Luanhui Wang took out was not the same millstone that he saw when he comprehended reincarnation. It was merely a treasure weapon forged with the appearance of that millstone. Clang! He held the reincarnation sword with both hands and slashed out an even more powerful strike. An even more dazzling reincarnation sword aura shot straight up. In the blink of an eye, this reincarnation sword aura clashed with the destructive power that Luanhui Wang took out with the reincarnation disc. Rumble! The destructive saint energy swept out wave after wave. When the two collided, they exploded one after another. The violent hurricane swept across and shattered the cosmic space. Lin Tian took a step forward and switched to using the weapon controlling technique to control the reincarnation sword. The densely packed reincarnation sword aura slashed down immediately. He performed the reincarnation fist art and propped up the reincarnation divine domain to protect his body. After that, he unleashed the completed reincarnation diagram once again. The turbulent attack landed in front of Luanhui Wang in the blink of an eye. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold. The reincarnation disc vibrated and spread out the destructive light in the sky. It clashed with Lin Tian's reincarnation sword head-on. At the same time, the reincarnation Dao pattern shone in his eyes. The reincarnation blood sea appeared again and pressed down on Lin Tian. Rumble! 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 The two clashed in the blink of an eye. The reincarnation disc clashed with the reincarnation sword. The reincarnation blood sea, the reincarnation light, and the reincarnation light clashed with the reincarnation diagram. This caused the cosmic space in this area to crumble unceasingly. One after another, huge black holes were formed. The destructive aura was vast and mighty here. As time passed, it became more and more terrifying. More and more cosmic space crumbled, and it was hard to recover. Blood splashed out unceasingly in this intense battle. There was Luanhui Wang's blood, and there was also Lin Tian's blood. As a supreme saint spirit that was born in the reincarnation, his cultivation base was at the peak of the profound sky realm. He had refined the origin power of 8 universes. Furthermore, the reincarnation he controlled was much more powerful than Lin Tian. Luanhui Wang's combat power was extremely terrifying. Although he was injured by Lin Tian time and time again, Lin Tian was also injured time and time again. His injuries were much more serious than Luanhui Wang's. PFFF. A quarter of an hour later, the bloody mist exploded. Under the intense confrontation, Lin Tian's reincarnation body was shattered. His blood dyed the surroundings red. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold. He interweaved the boundless reincarnation palm and pressed down on Lin Tian's shattered body. In the blink of an eye, the reincarnation palm pressed down on Lin Tian's shattered body. Also at this time, with a loud bang, Lin Tian's shattered body exploded. An incomparably turbulent reincarnation Qi soared into the sky. The black wind howled angrily in this place in an instant. The reincarnation chi overflowed the sky. Numerous soul shadows rushed out from Lin Tian's shattered body. Every soul shadow was interweaved with the terrifying reincarnation chi. It was hard to count how many there were, and it caused the surroundings to tremble. Roar! 10,000 souls roared. The sound shook the vast sky as they pounced on Luanhui Wang together. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 souls arrived in front of Luanhui Wang. The huge amount of reincarnation chi mixed with the reincarnation light forcefully broke through the reincarnation light outside Luanhui Wang's body. They directly submerged Luanhui Wang and tore his body apart crazily. In the blink of an eye, purple blood splattered everywhere. Souls that contain karma, get lost. Luanhui Wang's voice was cold. The reincarnation light that overflowed the sky burst out. He summoned the reincarnation blood sea and submerged his body together with the 10,000 souls. In the blink of an eye, the soul shadows collapsed into pieces. However, there were too many of these soul shadows. They were densely packed together. It was hard to count how many there were. It seemed like all of them had monstrous hatred for Luanhui Wang. They crazily attacked Luanhui Wang and tore him apart. Such a scene caused Xian Tian and Xian Ye, who were extremely far away, to tremble. These densely packed soul shadows, the reincarnation chi mixed with their ruthlessness, made their divine souls shiver involuntarily. It was also at this time that the sound of flesh and blood squirming could be heard. Lin Tian reformed his body at this moment. Clang! Wang! The reincarnation sword vibrated. The reincarnation pattern buzzed. The reincarnation heavenly river propped up. The fate whirlpool also appeared together. At this time, he didn't hesitate to stop. He directly pounced on Luanhui Wang. His murderous intent shook the 8 desolates. Together with those densely packed souls, they launched a destructive attack on Luanhui Wang. These tens of thousands of souls were the souls that had once existed in his reincarnation origin. After his reincarnation body reached grand completion, he finally felt their existence and vaguely understood that they were originally the souls of the reincarnation of heaven and earth. They were the tens of thousands of souls that had attached to his soul when he went to reincarnation in his previous life. After that, in this life, after he completed his reincarnation body, these densely packed souls separated from his soul and appeared in his reincarnation origin. They were the life forms that had passed away in the past. Moreover, they were all extremely powerful life forms. They were the experts that died because the celestial court destroyed many universes. Their souls weren't completely destroyed. In the reincarnation world, they vaguely knew that the source of the destruction came from Luanhui Wang. When he went to the reincarnation world with boundless hatred for Luanhui Wang and the others, they were sensed and instinctively attached to his soul. The reason why the celestial court destroyed so many universes was because of Luanhui Wang. These were the immortal souls of these once powerful life forms. Because of that, they were tainted with the karma related to Luanhui Wang. At the same time, they were tainted with the endless reincarnation chi. On this day, he went to look for Luanhui Wang. These densely packed souls were all released from his reincarnation origin. They immediately attacked Luanhui Wang crazily. Roar! 10,000 souls roared. They were tainted with the karma and reincarnation chi related to Luanhui Wang. Their numbers were terrifying. Even the reincarnation sea of blood couldn't kill them all in a short period of time. They tore at Luanhui Wang crazily. Purple blood splattered everywhere. Chapter 23:43. Boom! Reincarnation sword light, complete reincarnation diagram, reincarnation heavenly river, and at the same time, fate maelstrom. Boundless killing power landed on Luanhui King's body, pushing him to the bottom of the reincarnation blood sea. After that, the reincarnation blood sea was annihilated. Purple blood splashed in all directions. A large area of the universe was completely annihilated. Lin Tian's eyes moved simultaneously. Endless reincarnation light and fate maelstrom appeared once again and pressed down on Luanhui King mercilessly. Roar! 10,000 souls roared. Under Lin Tian's attack, they tore Luanhui King's body even more frantically. The aura of karma and reincarnation drowned Luanhui King. Luanhui King's body was torn apart in the blink of an eye. His flesh was badly mutilated. After a while, with a puff sound, finally, under Lin Tian's attack, under the tearing of 10,000 souls, Luanhui King's body collapsed. Kings, very far away, Xintian and Xuandi trembled violently. Their king was now fighting with Lin Tianyi, and his body was actually shattered. After following Luanhui King for so long, this was the first time they saw Luanhui King's body being shattered. Luanhui King's body exploded. Purple blood splashed in all directions of the universe. Regarding this, Lin Tian didn't stop. His Rinnegan and Fate Maelstrom trembled together once again. An even more turbulent reincarnation light interweaved, and an even more terrifying Fate Maelstrom appeared. With a rumbling sound, the reincarnation light and Fate Maelstrom moved along with his gaze. They pressed down on Luanhui King's shattered body, not giving Luanhui King a chance to reconstruct his body. At the same time, 10,000 souls roared and surrounded Luanhui King's shattered body. They continued to tear and bite. Each and every one of them was ruthless and malevolent. Scram! A cold voice rang out. The Reincarnation King's flesh and blood erupted with boundless reincarnation light, as an even more terrifying reincarnation sea of blood appeared. In addition, the reincarnation will descended as well. It was unknown how many times stronger the reincarnation might was compared to before. In an instant, the reincarnation light and destiny energy that Lin Tian unleashed were crushed, sending Lin Tian flying. At the same time, the densely packed souls were also crushed. In the next moment, Luanhui King reconstructed his body in the reincarnation blood sea. His eyes became even colder. You do know quite a few. You're the first one to be able to injure me to this extent. Staring at Lin Tian, the true lord of the celestial court, the reincarnation Tao patterns intertwined with even more intense holy radiance. Immediately after the reincarnation sea of blood appeared, numerous reincarnation seas appeared, and numerous reincarnation rifts appeared. The reincarnation aura that intertwined with each other was a few dozen times more violent than before, and it practically transformed this place into a world of reincarnation. Reincarnation is the foundation of this world. This king was born from reincarnation, and reincarnation belongs to this king. This king is the master of this world. You will control the complete cycle of reincarnation. Looking at Lin Tian, his eyes were cold. You all exist in this world, so you are all my subjects. You have read the ancient books. If the king wants his subjects to die, the subjects have no choice but to die. You are just a mere human. As a subject, you covet the king's power and attempt to kill him. This is outrageous. As his words fell, the universe erupted with monstrous thunder. It was as if the will of the heavens and earth was demonstrating his majesty. Scram! Lin Tian only had this one word. His killing intent was overflowing. His right eye and left eye of destiny trembled at the same time, mobilizing the boundless light of reincarnation and the power of destiny. They coordinated with the reincarnation sword and reincarnation diagram to launch a violent attack. Moreover, he also supported the perfect world at the same time, adding all the power of the perfect world to his attack. His killing intent immediately skyrocketed. Luanhui Wang's eyes were ice cold. The reincarnation sea of blood, reincarnation seas, and numerous reincarnation rifts moved according to his will. They ruthlessly pressed down on Lin Tian. Moreover, the terrifying reincarnation will also press down on Lin Tian under his will. Boom! 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 The two collided intensely. The surrounding space gradually became even more damaged. Bang! After several dozen breaths of time, the reincarnation divine domain outside Lin Tian's body crumbled. He was sent flying by Luanhui Wang. Half of his body exploded. However, at the same time, he became ruthless. He didn't even bother to heal his injuries and use teleportation. He instantly appeared in front of Luanhui Wang and waved his left fist. It was mixed with boundless power of destiny as it fiercely blasted towards Luanhui Wang. The same trick, can it still work on me? Luanhui Wang's eyes were ice cold. He waved his fist with extreme speed, mixed with boundless power of reincarnation, and collided with Lin Tian's left fist. With a PFFF sound, Lin Tian's left fist immediately exploded. However, it was also at this time that Luanhui Wang trembled violently. He couldn't help but let out a muffled groan. The light of reincarnation around him instantly became chaotic, and he couldn't help but take a step back. "Sword come!" Lin Tian roared furiously. The sword of reincarnation arrived in an instant. It burst out with a monstrous sword power and slashed down with boundless chi of reincarnation. Previously, he knew that if he used teleportation with the Eye of Destiny again, it would be very difficult for him to launch a surprise attack on Luanhui Wang. His left fist was merely a cover. When his left fist collided with Luanhui Wang's fist, the reincarnation god slaying technique that specialized in attacking the divine soul was launched silently. It mixed with his boundless killing intent and ruthlessly blasted onto Luanhui Wang's divine soul. Even the powerful Luanhui Wang couldn't help but let out a muffled groan. His divine soul was seriously injured, and the aura outside his body became chaotic. At this moment, taking advantage of the short moment when Luanhui Wang's aura became chaotic, he summoned the Sword of Reincarnation and directly launched his most powerful sword attack towards Luanhui Wang. His body also recovered in the blink of an eye. The Eye of Reincarnation trembled slightly and summoned a reincarnation beast that was about 100,000 zhang long. It almost broke the sky. With a roar, it violently attacked Luanhui Wang. Boom! This kind of attack, at the moment when Luanhui Wang's divine soul was injured and his aura became chaotic, all of them landed on Luanhui Wang's body. With a pu sound, the powerful Luanhui Wang was blasted apart once again. Purple blood splashed all over the cosmic space. Lin Tian didn't have the slightest pause. He didn't give Luanhui Wang any chance to take a breather. At this moment, all kinds of great techniques were launched simultaneously. Reincarnation Forging God Technique, Reincarnation Sword Light, Reincarnation Fist Technique, 5 Heavenly Lightning Shaking Technique, Reincarnation Force, Fate Force, Perfect World's Power. All the power that he controlled were activated at the same time. Rumble. For a moment, the aura he emitted skyrocketed. His killing intent skyrocketed. All kinds of attacks were launched at Luanhui Wang violently. Pooh! 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 Purple blood mist splashed out. Luanhui Wang's shattered body became more and more broken under his crazy attacks. And an extremely cold voice resounded, mixed with a terrifying, killing intent. From Luanhui Wang's shattered body, countless reincarnation light rushed out and transformed into a destructive storm. It forcefully sent Lin Tian flying for dozens of miles, causing Lin Tian to explode in the distance. In the blink of an eye, Luanhui Wang reformed his body. His eyes turned ice cold, and the killing intent he emitted became even denser. With a boom, he looked at the shattered Lin Tian in the distance. The boundless reincarnation blood sea, reincarnation heavenly waterfall, reincarnation crack, etc. all rolled towards Lin Tian at the same time. The destructive power shook the surroundings, annihilating every inch of the surrounding cosmic space. Lin Tian's body shone brightly. In the blink of an eye, he reformed his body. Under the situation where he didn't have enough time to dodge this kind of attack, his Eye of Destiny trembled slightly, causing his body to turn into nothingness. The destructive power passed through his nothingness body and didn't injure him at all. Boring trick. Luanhui Wang's eyes were ice cold. His Eye of Reincarnation trembled slightly, causing Lin Tian to tremble violently. The ability of the Eye of Destiny instantly lost its effect. Immediately, Lin Tian was completely immersed in the boundless reincarnation blood sea, reincarnation heavenly waterfall, and reincarnation crack. In the first moment, he was shattered again. Moreover, the reincarnation blood sea, reincarnation heavenly waterfall, and reincarnation crack continued to crush his shattered body mercilessly. Puff, puff, puff. Blood mist burst out continuously. Just like the previous Luanhui Wang, his shattered body was crushed continuously. It was a ghastly sight. However, this only lasted for a moment. After a moment, he let out a low roar. His soul burst out with boundless soul light. Unparalleled reincarnation light and luck light intertwined and fused together at an extremely fast speed. It gave birth to a bottomless abyss of reincarnation and luck. It forcefully pushed away the reincarnation blood sea that was crushing down on Lin Tian, allowing him to reform his body. Your life is quite tough, Luanhui Wang said coldly. The reincarnation blood sea, reincarnation heavenly waterfall, and reincarnation crack once again pressed down on Lin Tian. Before slaughtering all of you bastards, I won't die. I won't. Lin Tian's eyes were filled with hatred and killing intent. His black hair danced wildly. The bottomless abyss formed by the intertwined reincarnation, fate, shook violently and blasted towards Luanhui Wang violently. At the same time, the reincarnation sword vibrated under his will. Using the weapon control technique, it slashed towards Luanhui Wang together. An ant wants to kill the emperor. Treacherous thing. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold. The reincarnation aura became even stronger. In the blink of an eye, the two clashed again. Luanhui Wang, light of destiny, and other kinds of killing force collided. Blood mist splattered all over the place. In the blink of an eye, 9 days had passed. Puff! 9 days later, Lin Tian's body was crushed for the 131st time. His essence, qi, and spirit were much weaker than 9 days ago. His complexion had already turned pale. On the opposite side, Luanhui Wang's body was stained with blood. His injuries were not as serious as Lin Tian's, but he was also crushed dozens of times in these 9 days. His eyes seemed even colder. You ant! Staring at Lin Tian, his eyes became extremely cruel. After 9 days, he actually couldn't kill Lin Tian. Moreover, he was injured by Lin Tianyi again and again. Outside his body, the reincarnation light boiled again. His killing intent was surging violently. The reincarnation blood sea emerged again. Lin Tian's complexion was pale. Facing the surging killing intent and the terrifying reincarnation blood sea, he didn't have the slightest fear. He didn't retreat in the slightest. There was only hatred, ruthlessness, and boundless killing intent in his eyes. Holding the reincarnation sword, he pressed on towards Luanhui Wang step by step. Also at this time, the melodious sound of the flute resounded in this broken universe. It was like the sound of 10,000 saints cleansing the world. Lin Tian's body suddenly trembled slightly. The reincarnation forging soul technique in his body buzzed. His aura skyrocketed like a volcanic eruption. Why are you always alone? A gentle divine sense followed the melodious sound of the flute. Wu Yi walked over from afar. Didn't I say it before? You still have us. Ruoxian, Jiyu, Baiqiu, Shui, Sushu, Lin Shi, Violet Fairy, and Yin Yub followed behind her. Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Tianzuan, Sun Tianzuan, Dragon Burial Tianzuan, and Ao Jian Tianzuan arrived at the same time. Shen Qi, Mu Xingshu, Immortal Spirit Emperor, Nameless, and the others followed. By Ziki, Fanning Xiong, AI, Purple Moon, Wuxing Crocodile, Little Taichu, White Tiger, Black Dragon, Yangqi, Ling Yun, and the others came side by side. Even the old hoodlum and the primitive emperor appeared at the same time. Chapter 2344. 9 days had passed since Lin Tian left the immortal court for his tribulation. Lin Tianyi had yet to return. Wu Yi could roughly guess what Lin Tian had gone to do. Due to the large amount of reincarnation origin in her body, she could vaguely sense Lin Tian's location. On this day, she came here to look for Lin Tian. Ruoxian and the others naturally followed her. At the same time, Fengshen Tianzuan, Celestial Lord of Chaos, Celestial Lord of Buried Dragon, Celestial Lord of Sun, Celestial Lord of Chaos, Celestial Lord of Buried Dragon, Celestial Lord of Sun, Shinqi, Muxingshu, by Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, the Emperor of Immortal Spirit, Wu Ming, and the others naturally knew that Wu Yi had come out to look for Lin Tian. Everyone moved and came here at the same time. Yi Tong, Little Fox, and Snow Wolf had been in charge of managing the Immortal Court. Because of them, the Immortal Soldiers and Immortal Generals of the Immortal Court also knew about this matter. Despite knowing that they couldn't help with their combat strength and that it would be extremely dangerous for them to come along, they still came. They knew about the past of their leader and knew that their leader came here to make a final decision. They thought that even if they could only cheer for their leader, they would still come here. The melodious sound of the flute drifted throughout the entire universe. Lin Tian's aura rose steadily like an erupting volcano. Reincarnation Tribulation Crossing Song. He looked at Wu Yi, Ruoxian, Jiyu, and the others. He looked at his 9 senior brothers by Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, Jiang Luluo, and Shui, and Little Taichu. He looked at Shin Qi and Mu Xingshu. He looked at Old Gangster and the Primitive Emperor. He looked at Yi Tong, Little Fox, Snow Wolf, and the other Immortal Soldiers and Immortal Generals. Everyone he knew and his subordinates all came here one by one. They stood together densely, like a warm sun. Little junior brother, I told you before that the old patriarch and the others are no longer here. But you were never alone. Fengshen Tianzuan said. Father, Ruoxian called out. She looked at her father, and then at Luanhui Wang and Xian Tian and Xuandi in the distance. Her beautiful big eyes revealed anger and hatred. Since she came to this place, she naturally knew that these 3 were the enemies that made her father lose everything. Luanhui Wang, the true master of the Celestial Court. Old Gangster's gaze landed on Luanhui Wang. He could clearly feel an extremely terrifying pressure. Then his gaze landed on Lin Tian. His eyes were filled with regret and sigh. The little guy from back then is now strong to such an extent. He can even fight against the true master of the Celestial Court, Luanhui Wang. It's them that made Lord Immortal Emperor. All the Immortal Soldiers and Immortal Generals of the Celestial Court clenched their hands. Even though they could feel the terrifying aura from Luanhui Wang, Xian Tian, and Xian Di, they didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Their eyes were filled with anger. The others also saw Luanhui Wang, Xian Tian, and Xian Di. They all knew that these 3 were Lin Tian's enemies. Back then, they made Lin Tian lose everything. Right now, looking at these 3 experts, everyone's face was filled with anger. At the same time, Luanhui Wang's indifferent gaze swept across the crowd. Xian Tian and Xian Di also looked at the crowd. The Hongmeng universe is in the midst of destruction. You guys are really careless. At this stage, everyone who can fight doesn't care about that universe. Instead, each and every one of you jumped here to die for him. Stupid things. Xian Tian looked at Old Gangster and the others and said coldly. Xian Tian and Xian Di naturally knew about some of the top experts outside of the Celestial Court. The Great Calamity? I'm afraid that you guys have become stupid from sleeping. Old Daoist followed along and said with a sarcastic smile, You guys from the Celestial Court have already been expelled from the Hongmeng universe. Why are you still talking about this here? Are you still dreaming? Xian Tian and Xian Di's expression changed when they heard this. Their eyes narrowed. Immediately, a faint light appeared on their body as if they were sensing something. In the next moment, their expressions changed. Bastard! There was a main race in the Heavenly Court, and the great world in which the main race resided was incredibly vast. It was known as the only true world. As the divine guards of Reincarnation King, their status in the Heavenly Court was second only to Reincarnation King, so they could naturally sense that world. At that moment, they used a unique art to sense the situation in the only true world, even though they were an endless distance away. The large group of heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals who had given the order to slaughter their way into the primordial universe had returned to the only true world. This proved that what the old Taoist said was true. Sensing this, the 2 men's faces instantly turned gloomy. The melodious sound of the flute floated in the universe. Wu Yi played the flute. Her gaze was as gentle as water as she looked at Lin Tian gently. No matter what, we will always be behind you and by your side. The melodious sound of the flute was as gentle as the sound of a zither. Lin Tian's aura rose steadily. Facing Wu Yi's gentle gaze and gentle words, he looked at Ruoxian and the others behind her, his 9 senior brothers, Bai Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, and the others, as well as the group of immortal soldiers and immortal generals. The ruthlessness and hatred in his eyes instantly lessened. It was as if the 10,000 years of snow had been melted by the warm sun. Noisy! A cold voice resounded. Luanhui Wang's gaze landed on Wu Yi. A large amount of reincarnation light directly pressed down on Wu Yi. Wherever the reincarnation light passed, the space in the universe would instantly become tight. It attacked Wu Yi at an extremely shocking speed. However, at this moment, with a clang, the reincarnation sword arrived as if it was flying. It instantly shattered the reincarnation light. At the same time, Lin Tian moved. In a flash, he appeared in front of Luanhui Wang. Luanhui Wang's pupils constricted. Teleportation of fate. This is even more shocking than before. Unfortunately, this king said before, no. Dong. The universe rumbled. Lin Tian waved his fist and interrupted the latter's words. The powerful fist was as fast as a startled swan. It steadily landed on Luanhui Wang's body. With a puff, purple blood splattered everywhere. Half of Luanhui Wang's body was instantly shattered by this fist. It made his entire body fly away like a scarecrow, smashing a large part of the universe space. The purple blood splattered in the universe space, annihilating the space one by one, causing black holes to appear in the universe space. Without any hesitation, Lin Tian moved once again. In a blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Luanhui King. Dong! The second fist pressed down. The heaven and earth seemed to rumble along with it. Once again, it steadily landed on Luanhui Wang's body. This time, with a puff, the remaining half of Luanhui Wang's body was also shattered. Minced flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Such a scene made Xian Tian and Xian Di, who were extremely far away, involuntarily tremble. The two of them were shocked. At this moment, Lin Tian seemed to have changed into another person. With just two punches, he actually shattered the king of their bloodline. They could clearly feel that the aura released by Lin Tian at this moment was completely different from before. Boom! A monstrous saint's aura rumbled. It vibrated out from Lin Tian's body. Accompanied by the melodious flute sound, it kept rising. The reincarnation light surrounded his body. The power of fate interweaved around him. He waved his fist again. His left hand evolved fate, and his right hand evolved reincarnation. He didn't give Luanhui Wang the chance to reform his body. Didn't give Luanhui Wang any chance to take a breather. The fate fist light and reincarnation fist light crazily bombarded Luanhui Wang's shattered body, causing purple blood mist to splatter everywhere. At this moment, Wu Yi stepped into this place. The reincarnation tribulation crossing song resounded in all directions. It resonated with the reincarnation, forging divine art in his body. Together with his completed reincarnation physique, the true awakened reincarnation origin, his battle strength was superimposed by 500 times at this moment. 500 times superimposed battle strength. At this moment, he was like a true ancestor who had come into being. His saint's aura was rolling, as if he could destroy the world. The violent fist power kept pressing down on Luanhui Wang. Puff, 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 the blood mist kept exploding. Get lost! Luanhui Wang's immortal soul let out a roar. The light of reincarnation burst out. In the blink of an eye, he reformed his body. Once again, he summoned the reincarnation blood sea and pressed down on Lin Tian mightily. Lin Tian didn't dodge. His right eye shook slightly. A huge reincarnation heavenly river rushed out and met the reincarnation blood sea head-on. In the blink of an eye, the reincarnation blood sea was shattered. At the same time, his left eye of fate shook slightly. In a flash, he teleported to the front of Luanhui Wang and directly launched another punch. Boom! The universe space within a radius of 10,000 zhong shook violently. The violent punch pressed down and instantly shattered the reincarnation light screen outside Luanhui Wang's body. With a puff, Luanhui Wang was sent flying several hundred zhang away. In the process of flying, purple blood splashed out along with it. After that, almost in the blink of an eye, Lin Tian appeared in front of Luanhui Wang once again. The light of reincarnation and the power of fate appeared at the same time and pressed down. It completely enveloped Luanhui Wang, who had yet to stabilize his body. Luanhui Wang's expression changed. He forcefully stabilized his body and supported the endless light of reincarnation to protect his body. However, it was useless. Puff! Blood splashed out. Luanhui Wang exploded again. Even if he supported the endless light of reincarnation to resist, it was still useless. Purple blood splashed out. It was very eye-catching. It corroded the universe space one by one. However, Luanhui Wang was still very strong. In the blink of an eye, he reformed his body again. The reincarnation eye shook fiercely. The reincarnation blood sea, reincarnation heavenly waterfall, reincarnation great crack, reincarnation vortex, and the destruction weapon reincarnation disc pressed down together. With a rumbling sound, an unparalleled aura of destruction enveloped Lin Tian in the first moment. Lin Tian's black hair fluttered in the wind. Without any superfluous movements, he simply threw out a punch. The boundless light of reincarnation condensed at the tip of his fist and burst out. It turned into a resplendent fist light and shattered all the reincarnation power that Luanhui Wang used. Immediately after, the fist light's momentum did not decrease. With a puff sound, it pierced through Luanhui Wang's chest and dragged his body to fly several thousand zhang away. After that, Luanhui Wang's body exploded with a puff sound. Once again, the sky was filled with purple blood mist. Kings, extremely far away, Xian Tian and Xian Di's expression changed again and again. At this moment, their king was actually completely suppressed by Lin Tian. On the other side, Ruoxian and the others clenched their hands tightly. "Kill this son of a bitch!" Wuxing Crocodile roared. "Lord Immortal Emperor!" A group of immortal soldiers and immortal generals roared in unison. Their battle chi surged as they shouted for their leader. It was as if this could give their leader even more power. Chapter 2345. Ruoxian shouted. Wuxing Crocodile and the others, as well as the group of immortal soldiers and immortal generals, shouted together. Their gaze fell upon Lin Tian. Listening to their voices, Lin Tian took a step forward. The reincarnation light and the power of fate revolved around his body. He once again pressed down on Luanhui King. Rubble, the unparalleled reincarnation light and the surging power of fate, the two combined together and bombarded Luanhui King again and again. Purple blood splashed out one after another. Luanhui King's broken body was continuously bombarded by Lin Tian and became even more broken. Ants! Luanhui King let out a low roar. The endless reincarnation light surged and broke away from Lin Tian's attack range. In the blink of an eye, he once again condensed his body in the distance. At this moment, his eyes were intertwined with a chilling aura. His killing intent was even more intense. Born from the cycle of reincarnation, he believed himself to be the son of heaven of the world. All living beings in the world were his subjects. He was the most powerful existence in the world, but now he was firmly suppressed by a human. He looked at Lin Tian. The reincarnation light outside his body rose sharply once again. His eyes were filled with dense killing intent. "You traitor!" Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing, interrupting Luanhui King's words. Lin Tian took a step forward. His speed was extremely fast. He once again arrived in front of Luanhui King. Moreover, the reincarnation sword appeared at the same time. It was held in his right hand. Activating the reincarnation sword technique, he slashed out a sharp sword strike. This was an extremely close sword strike. Luanhui King couldn't avoid it and was directly cut into two by this sword strike. Soon after, a sonorous sword cry resounded. The reincarnation sword in Lin Tian's hand transformed into a dense reincarnation sword chi. It turned into a rain of reincarnation sword chi and completely enveloped Reincarnation King's body that was cut into two. The rain of reincarnation sword chi fell down majestically. For a moment, the sound of pu 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 was unceasingly transmitted. Luan Hui King's body that was cut into two turned into a bloody mist in the blink of an eye. Good, good, kill it. At a distance, whooshing crocodile and white tiger both clenched their claws. The melodious sound of the flute drifted through the universe. Wu Yi's eyes were gentle. She played the Reincarnation Tribulation Crossing song, which resonated with the Reincarnation Forging Spirit art, causing Lin Tian's essence, energy, and spirit to be strengthened to the extreme at this moment. Her saintly might was like the heavens, and her battle prowess was maintained at a height of 500 times her basic battle prowess. Pooh! 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 The purple-colored blood mist exploded one after another. At this moment, Luan Hui Wang was no longer a match for Lin Tian. He was receiving injuries unceasingly. His change is related to that woman's flute music. Kill her! In the distance, Xian Tian and Xian Di naturally saw that Lin Tian's strength had suddenly skyrocketed because of Wu Yi's flute music. At this time, they directly moved and attacked Wu Yi. However, just as they took a step forward, Lin Tian's gaze swept over them, and a great expanse of reincarnation light appeared. There were no cries of agony. Two clouds of blood instantly exploded, and the two were directly annihilated by the pressure of the reincarnation light. Rumble! Unparalleled reincarnation light and power of fate rolled over and over. After killing Xian Tian and Xian Mie, only Luan Hui Wang, the main culprit, was left among the dozens of people who had killed the old patriarch and the others. Lin Tian's hands moved simultaneously. The aura outside his body became even more turbulent. The reincarnation light suppressed everything, and the power of fate spread across 10,000 li. It completely enveloped Luan Hui Wang within it, and attacked him unceasingly. The purple-colored blood mist collapsed unceasingly. He used all kinds of divine abilities at the same time, and didn't give Luan Hui Wang the slightest chance to take a breather or reconstruct his body. He attacked him madly. Under this kind of powerful and berserk attack, Luan Hui Wang's aura rapidly decreased and weakened. Enough! With a furious roar, Luan Hui Wang's shattered blood mist trembled, and an even more boundless reincarnation light gushed out. The reincarnation disk floated over along with the pressure, and burst out with monstrous, holy radiance. It forcefully repelled Lin Tian's attack, and Luan Hui Wang managed to reconstruct his body. After reconstructing his body, he looked at Lin Tian, the true master of the celestial court, Luan Hui Wang, who was born from reincarnation. His eyes were extremely cold, and the reincarnation Dao pattern in his eyes and the reincarnation Dao pattern on both sides of his cheeks blossomed with radiance at this moment. And almost at the same time, outside the mysterious yellow universe, in the boundless heaven and earth, outside an extremely vast world, rings of sacred reincarnation runes appeared one after another, causing this extremely vast world to burn with endless holy flames. Inside the world, along with the brilliance, countless powerful celestial soldiers and celestial generals who wore the celestial court's battle uniform were terrified at this moment. They exploded one after another and turned into waves of energy. Everything inside the vast world was disappearing and turned into energy. Soon after, under the endless sacred reincarnation runes outside the world, huge cracks appeared one after another, and all the energy continuously entered into those cracks. The next moment, within the mysterious yellow universe, a rumbling sound rang out. Huge cracks appeared behind Luan Hui Wang, and waves of boundless energy rushed out from those cracks, and unceasingly rushed into Luan Hui Wang's body, causing his aura to instantly increase exponentially. To be able to force me to refine the origin world, you are truly very good. Very good. Staring at Lin Tian, at this moment, Luanhui Wang's eyes became extremely cold. Rumble! As he finished speaking, endless energy continued to surge out from the huge cracks behind him and unceasingly rushed into his body, causing his aura to increase exponentially. In the blink of an eye, it surpassed Lin Tian, who was supported by the Reincarnation Calamity, Overcoming Song, and Reincarnation Forging Mind Art at the same time, and it shook the surrounding universe until it was annihilated and disappeared in large patches. Such an unforeseen event instantly caused the expressions of everyone in this place to change. Origin World? I heard from some of the powerful people of the Celestial Court in the past that seems to be the origin world of the Celestial Court's main race. The White Tiger remembered some things in the past, refining the origin world and all the power of the origin world. All the celestial soldiers and celestial generals inside are all being refined and devoured by him. Lin Tian took a step forward, and his eye of reincarnation and eye of destiny trembled at the same time. 500 times of fighting power erupted at full force at that moment. Heavenly River of Reincarnation, Giant Reincarnation Beast, Reincarnation Great Crack, Reincarnation Sword, Complete Reincarnation Picture, an endless power of destiny erupted at the same time, and at that moment, they pressed down on Luanhui Wang in a mighty manner. However, at that moment, in an extremely short amount of time, Luanhui Wang's aura suddenly increased exponentially, and all the 500 times of fighting power he brought out were completely useless. Luanhui Wang merely stood there and refined the origin world, and the sacred reincarnation marks that naturally interweaved around his body blocked all of this. Lin Tian gritted his teeth, and with a low roar, he used all of his strength, and all of his methods were brought out one after another, and launched a violent attack. In an unknown location, in an ordinary valley, an old drunkard stood at the peak of a short mountain and looked at the profound yellow universe in the distance. The origin world itself is not simple, and with the endless celestial soldiers and celestial generals of the celestial court refining it and devouring the power of the origin world and all the celestial soldiers and celestial generals, even if Little Ten controls reincarnation and has the help of Wu Yi's sacred voice, it is impossible for him to win against the current Luanhui Wang. Qing Xian stood by the side, and there was worry in her eyes. She paused for a moment, then looked at an old drunkard. Should we? An old drunkard was dressed in white robes. His eyes were profound as he looked at the profound yellow universe in the distance. He knew what Qing Xian meant, but he did not have any intention of attacking. An incomprehensible light was intertwined in his profound eyes. Boom! An intimidating sacred might surged out. At the center of the profound yellow universe, behind Luanhui Wang, surging waves of energy endlessly surged into his body, causing the aura he exuded to continuously rise, one time after another. His aura was extremely terrifying. Outside Lin Tian's body, the light of reincarnation and the light of Kismet were thick, and all sorts of divine abilities continuously bombarded Luanhui Wang. However, it was useless. At that moment, Luanhui Wang seemed to be unable to attack because he was refining the origin world, but the sacred reincarnation mark on his body was terrifyingly strong, and all of his attacks were completely blocked. Moreover, there was a rebounding force that bounced back and landed on his body, causing the webbing between his thumb and forefinger to crack and bleed. How does it feel to be powerless? Did you remember the past? As he refined the origin world, an endless amount of energy surged into his body. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold, and he looked at Lin Tian cruelly and mercilessly. An ant trying to kill the king, no matter when, your petty hatred will never succeed. All of you are my subjects, and I am the king. If the king wants his subjects to die, then they must die. Lin Tian trembled violently. As Luanhui Wang spoke, the faces of the old patriarch and the others appeared in his mind one by one. His eyes were filled with hatred again, and he was incomparably ruthless. The light of reincarnation trembled, and he launched an even crazier attack. The destructive light of reincarnation and the light of Kismet continued to fall on Luanhui Wang, but it was useless. As Luan Hui Wang's aura continued to rise, the sacred reincarnation mark on his body became stronger, and the rebounding force also became more shocking. The rebounding force landed on his body one by one, causing cracks to appear on his reincarnation body that was 500 times stronger. Junior brother, don't be impatient. He can become even more terrifying after refining the origin world, but you are not alone. A gentle voice resounded at that moment. Fengshen Tianzuan opened his mouth and looked at Lin Tian with a smile. His eyes were filled with love. Senior brother can't help you much now, but it's not like there's nothing I can do. As he spoke, his body began to emit wisps of holy light. Senior brother's cultivation base, I will give it to you. Even if it can increase your battle prowess by a bit, it will be fine. As the eldest disciple of the human king, Fengshen Tianzuan was very clear that Luan Hui Wang was becoming stronger after refining the origin world. His battle prowess had already surpassed Lin Tian, and his aura was still rising. If Lin Tian's current battle prowess did not increase, he would definitely not be able to stop Luan Hui Wang, who had refined the origin world. He turned his cultivation base that had reached the peak of the soul revolving realm into pure energy. With this pure energy, he could increase Lin Tian's essence, energy, and spirit, and increase Lin Tian's battle prowess. Even if it was only a slight increase, it would still be useful. Lin Tian's expression immediately changed. He immediately stopped attacking Luan Hui Wang and rushed towards Fengshen Tianzuan. Senior brother, don't. Unfortunately, it was still too late. The gentle holy light rushed out of Fengshen Tianzuan's body and rushed into his body in an instant. It was like a warm current, and it caused his essence, energy, and spirit to immediately become stronger by a bit. However, this strength caused his powerful body to immediately stiffen, and he could not help but stop moving. He looked at Fengshen Tianzuan in a daze. It was also at that moment that Fengshen Tianzuan lost all his cultivation base. His entire person instantly became much more haggard, and he turned into an ordinary mortal. He was enveloped by Ao Jian Tianzuan's holy light. Only then could he survive in the universe. Otherwise, he would have immediately died. Senior brother. Chapter 2346. Stop! Ao Jian Tianzuan spoke, causing Lin Tian's body to tremble, and he immediately stopped in his tracks. Senior brother, looking at Ao Jian Tianzuan, looking at Fengshen Tianzuan, who was enveloped by Ao Jian Tianzuan's divine splendor, Lin Tian's body trembled. Back then, when he entered the sect, he was not even 6 years old. Besides the initial tempering of his body, the human king did not personally teach him much. Most of the time, it was his 9 senior brothers who taught him all kinds of cultivation methods and passed on all kinds of cultivation experiences to him. They were like brothers who loved and cared for him. Back then, his 9 senior brothers had reincarnated because of him. Now, the most gentle eldest senior brother had given him all his cultivation in order to increase his battle prowess by a bit. He felt as if there were needles stabbing his heart. It's just cultivation. It's not a big deal. As long as the person is still here, the cultivation can be cultivated back. Looking at Lin Tian, Ao Jian Tianzuan said, just as eldest senior brother said, although Luan Hui Wang can refine the origin world, you are not alone now. You still have us. We will become your strength. As he spoke, wisps of light emerged from his body. At the same time, he looked at Wu Yi, who was playing the Reincarnation Tribulation Crossing song. Sister-in-law, I'll leave the rest to you. Wu Yi understood his meaning and nodded slightly. Fengshen Tianzuan had lost all his cultivation and turned it into pure energy to give to Lin Tian. Ao Jian Tianzuan would do the same. After that, she would need to support the space where Fengshen Tianzuan and Ao Jian Tianzuan could survive in this universe. Ao Jian Tianzuan looked at Lin Tian again, and an even stronger light rushed out of his body. In the next moment, all his cultivation turned into light and rushed into Lin Tian's body. At the same time, Fengshen Tianzuan's face became haggard in an instant. The divine splendor enveloping Fengshen Tianzuan's body also scattered in the blink of an eye and was wrapped by a new light. That was Wu Yi's spatial holy power. Lin Tian's essence, energy, and spirit became stronger by a bit, and his body shook violently. Sixth senior brother. His nose turned sour, and he could not help but rush towards Fengshen Tianzuan and Ao Jian Tianzuan. That was the power they had cultivated for countless years. Now, they had given it all to him, and they had become ordinary mortals again. Stop! Primal Chaos Tianzuan opened his mouth and said the same word as Ao Jian Tianzuan, which made Lin Tian stop again. Little junior brother, didn't your sixth senior brother already say that it's only cultivation? It's not a big deal. As long as you are still alive, your cultivation can be cultivated back. This final battle, you must win, you must not lose. Looking at Lin Tian, he said gently, Master once said that for us disciples he could die at any time. If it were us, we would also do the same. As senior brothers, for junior brother, we can also die at any time, let alone its only cultivation. While speaking, strands of light appeared outside his body, and all his cultivation rushed into Lin Tian's body in an instant. A ring of spatial radiance enveloped him. Even if he lost all his cultivation, he could still survive in this universe. Little junior brother, no matter if it's for the old patriarch and the others, or for the living beings in this world, we must win this battle. Let's think about it another way. If you lose this battle, what's the point of us leaving our cultivation behind to face Luanhui Wang? There's no point. With our cultivation, we won't be able to block even one of Luanhui Wang's moves. There's no point in us leaving our cultivation behind. There's no need to be sad, and don't come over to stop us. Accept our cultivation and kill Luanhui Wang. Solar Tianzuan, Tianzuan Zonglong, and the others spoke one after another. Their bodies shone, and all their cultivation turned into pure light, turning into pure energy that rushed into Lin Tian's body, causing Lin Tian's essence, energy, and battle prowess to instantly increase by a lot. The power of space intertwined as Wui played the flute and acted at the same time. He enveloped Sun Heavenly Venerate and the others, who had lost their cultivation bases, with the power of space. This allowed them to survive in the universe. Lin Tian's body trembled. Looking at his 9 senior brothers giving him all their cultivation, he felt incomparably uncomfortable. In the distance, Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold, and a huge crack appeared behind him, melting the only origin world. Wave after wave of vast energy surged out from the cracks, endlessly surging into his body, and his aura continued to rise. As he looked at Lin Tian, Fengshen Tianzuan, Solar Tianzuan, and the others who were sacrificing their cultivation to Lin Tian's power, his eyes turned cold, but he didn't attack at that moment. Before the only origin world was completely melted, he couldn't attack. No matter how much power an ant has, in the end it's still the power of an ant. His eyes were cold, and mysterious Tao patterns of reincarnation interweaved in his eyes. Death is the final destination for all of you. There won't be any other ending. Behind him, vast amounts of energy continuously surged out from the cracks, endlessly surging into his body. Damn it, you won't have a good death. Boylin will kill you, and soon, he will chop off your dog head. Demonic light interweaved around Wuxing Crocodile's body, and all of his cultivation turned into pure light that rushed towards Lin Tian. Boy, catch it, kill it. As a powerful demonic beast, even if he lost all his cultivation and lost his ability to fight, he could still speak human words. Lin Tian, you will definitely win. Lord Big Brother, Little Purple believes that you can win. Little Purple is very happy to be able to become Lord Big Brother's power. Big Brother, Jiyu, Bai Qiu, Shui, Sushu, Violet Fairy, Lin Shi, and the others spoke one after another. At that moment, all of them sacrificed their cultivation, causing it to turn into pure energy that rushed into Lin Tian's body. Father, kill him and take revenge for the old patriarch, grandfather, and the others. Ruoxian spoke, and the power of time boiled. Just like Jiyu and the others, all of their cultivation rushed into Lin Tian's body. At the same time, Little Taichu, Bai Ziki, Ling Yun, Fanning Xiong, and the others sacrificed all of their cultivation to Lin Tian. Lin Tian's body trembled. At this moment, strand after strand of pure energy surged into his body. He could clearly sense that his vital energies, battle prowess, and other aspects were rapidly increasing. However, he felt extremely uncomfortable at this moment. They were not dead. They were still alive, but they had all become ordinary people. All of their years of cultivation had turned into nothing, and all of it had turned into his power. His senior brother had told him not to be sad, but how could he not be sad? Buzz! The light was dazzling, and strands of divine light lit up in this universe. Lord Immortal Emperor, you once told us that we should trust you when we are uneasy, and rely on you when we are in trouble. All these years, you have been fighting alone outside, and you have brought back all kinds of Baodan divine medicines and ancient immortal scriptures for us time and time again. You have personally led us in cultivation, and you have personally answered all kinds of questions we had in cultivation. Our cultivation and growth are all dependent on you. A founding elder of the Immortal Court spoke. He had joined the Immortal Court since the establishment of the Immortal Court, and now he was extremely powerful. At this moment, he looked at Lin Tian with eyes full of respect. Now, please rely on us. It is our honor to be part of the Lord Immortal Emperor's power. The group of immortal soldiers and immortal generals roared, and their voices shook the sky. At this moment, their bodies shone brightly, and all of them sacrificed their cultivation, which turned into waves of pure energy and rushed toward Lin Tian continuously. They were glad that they had come to this place with him, and could become the leader's power at this moment. As the guardian of the Lord Immortal Emperor, it is my duty to protect the Lord Immortal Emperor and contribute to the Lord Immortal Emperor. Snow Wolf spoke. Now that he was at the 8th layer of Heaven Ascension, all of his cultivation turned into pure energy and rushed toward Lin Tian. Master, Yi Tong and Little Fox moved together, sacrificing their cultivation and turning it into pure energy that rushed toward Lin Tian. In the entire Immortal Court, more than 10 billion immortal soldiers and immortal generals, Snow Wolf, Yi Tong, and Little Fox, all of their cultivation were sacrificed to Lin Tian on this day and at this moment. If there was no human king back then, this old man would have died long ago. The old hoodlum also sacrificed his cultivation at this moment, turning it into pure energy that rushed toward Lin Tian. Kid, take it as returning the favor to your master. Kill that old dog. Old man, I also owe the human king a big favor. Let's return it together. The old Taoist spoke, and his cultivation surged toward Lin Tian. At the same time, he pulled off the oracle bone fragment on his neck. Kid, haven't you always been thinking about this thing? I'll give it to you. As he spoke, the oracle bone fragment cracked open, and stars streaked out one after another, and great worlds appeared one after another. Together with his cultivation, they all turned into the purest energy at this moment and rushed into Lin Tian's body. He was once the strongest person in the Tai universe. The stars and great worlds in the oracle bone fragment were the stars and great worlds of the Tai universe that he had preserved after killing the experts of the Celestial Court during the great destruction of the Tai universe. There were no living creatures among them. Those that existed had been moved to the primordial universe and lived there. Now, these stars and great worlds only contained an extremely vast amount of the universe's origin energy, and all of it was given to Lin Tian at this moment. No, little friend, back then he failed to cultivate in seclusion and died. Young man, thank you for taking care of the little Taichu all these years. Little brother, in this battle, we're only turning our cultivation into energy to provide a little bit of power. The real battle still depends on you. For your revenge, for the lives that have died at the hands of the Celestial Court, for the countless living creatures that are still alive in the primordial universe, we must win this battle. It's all up to you now. The martial ancestor, the royal lord of the celestial spirit, the primitive emperor, and the others spoke. Everyone gave up their cultivation at the same time, sacrificing their cultivation into pure energy and rushing toward Lin Tian. Rays of pure light kept flowing into Lin Tian's body, and Lin Tian's aura surged. At this moment, in the entire center of the universe, only Wu Yi did not give up her cultivation. She wanted to play the reincarnation tribulation song, and she wanted to support the space in the universe for those who had lost their cultivation. Boom! Lin Tian's aura surged and reached an extremely high point in the blink of an eye. He looked at his 9 senior brothers who had sacrificed their cultivation to him, looked at Ruoxian, Jiyu, and the others, looked at Wuxing Crocodile, Little Taichu, and the others, looked at Yi Tong, Little Fox, Snow Wolf, and the immortal soldiers and immortal generals. He looked at the old hoodlum, the primitive emperor, and the others, and his body couldn't help but tremble slightly. Ah! He roared towards the sky, and his aura shook the heaven and earth. The space in the universe crumbled inch by inch and collapsed inch by inch. It was also at this moment that a cold snore was heard. Luan Hui Wang had completed the refinement of the origin world, and the intertwining aura had reached an extremely terrifying level, as if he was a great demon that could destroy the world. I'll put an end to all of this. The power of a group of ants combined together is meaningless. A cold voice resounded. Luan Hui Wang took a step forward, and an immeasurable amount of reincarnation light rushed toward Lin Tian together. The monstrous amount of reincarnation light pressed down on Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. Lin Tian swung his fist, and the might of his reincarnation fist shook the entire universe. With one punch, he shattered everything. The immeasurable amount of reincarnation light that Luan Hui Wang had brought out was instantly shattered by this punch. Kill! Chapter 2347. Lin Tian roared angrily. With the full power of Ruoxian and the others, by Ziki and the others, the old hoodlum and the immortal soldiers and immortal generals, as well as Wu Yi's reincarnation calamity crossing song, the vast and tyrannical aura around his body reached its peak, as if it could destroy the sky. He rushed towards Luan Hui King. At that moment, his speed reached its peak, almost distorting time. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Luan Hui King. He waved his reincarnation fist, and a monstrous fist power erupted from it, landing on Luan Hui King's body. Purple blood splattered. Luan Hui King, who had refined the only origin world, had his sturdy body pierced through at that moment. However, Luan Hui King, who had refined the only origin world and the countless immortal soldiers and immortal generals in the only origin world, was naturally incomparably powerful at that moment. The moment his body was pierced through, his right hand formed a palm blade and cut into Lin Tian's chest. Bright red blood gushed out from Lin Tian's body, instantly dyeing his entire body red. Lin Tian turned a blind eye to this. His right hand that had pierced into Luan Hui King's body trembled, and a violent power erupted from his fist that had entered Luan Hui King's body. It rampaged through Luan Hui King's body, crazily destroying Luan Hui King's flesh and blood, causing cracks to appear on Luan Hui King's sturdy body in the blink of an eye. Purple blood gushed out continuously. At the same time, his left eye of destiny and right eye of reincarnation trembled lightly at the same time. The vortex of fate, heavenly river of reincarnation, great reincarnation crack, and giant reincarnation beast appeared one by one, pressing towards Luan Hui King in a mighty manner. Ant! Blood gushed out from Luan Hui King's mouth, but his eyes were incomparably cold. The palm that had pierced into Lin Tian's body also trembled, and the light of reincarnation that filled the sky burst forth, crushing half of Lin Tian's body. After that, he used his reincarnation eye to summon the reincarnation sea of blood. It was unknown how many times stronger than the previous reincarnation sea of blood, but it mercilessly pressed down on Lin Tian. Boom! The destructive power of the two collided in the blink of an eye and landed on each other. The power of reincarnation and the power of destiny boiled, and even more space in the universe was annihilated, completely turning turbid and unable to recover. Two bloody mists splashed out. Lin Tian's body exploded. Luan Hui Wang also exploded together with him. The bright red blood and the purple blood intertwined, and in the blink of an eye, the two recondensed their physical bodies. Under the wheel of samsara, all shall perish. Die! Luan Hui Wang said coldly. The reincarnation Tao pattern in his eyes vibrated slightly. At the same time as he summoned the boundless blood sea, the reincarnation disk was also summoned. Like the gears of heaven and earth, the reincarnation disk was intertwined with an extremely turbulent aura. It was awe-inspiring, and it pressed down on Lin Tian. Lin Tian was fearless. His head of black hair danced wildly as he faced the attack head-on. Clang! An ear-piercing sword howl shook the 3,000 great universes. He summoned the reincarnation sword. Endless reincarnation light and the power of providence intertwined. The dense divine patterns on the surface of the sword all lit up at that moment. The sword's power instantly soared and slashed toward the reincarnation disk. In the blink of an eye, the two ultimate artifacts clashed together. The sky was filled with the light of destruction at the first moment. Crack! 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 The surrounding cosmic space was annihilated inch by inch. It turned turbid and disappeared forever. I used the reincarnation stone to forge the reincarnation disk. No weapon can stop it. Luanhui Wang's eyes were cold. The reincarnation disk trembled and shook the reincarnation sword. Lin Tian's body was intertwined with 9-colored divine radiance. His aura was boundless. The black hair in front of his forehead danced even more wantonly. The sword that Master forged for me carries the faith of 10,000 creatures. What can your reincarnation disk amount to? Following his words, with a boom, the sword patterns on the reincarnation sword blossomed with an even more dazzling radiance. The sword's power rose sharply again and shook the reincarnation disk away. The swift and fierce sword's power annihilated the cosmic space. At the same time, endless pure white light surged out from the reincarnation sword. It revolved around the divine sword and circled around him, causing the divine sword's sword power to become even sharper. It caused his aura to become even more tyrannical. The immortal Emperor Pagoda carried the faith. After it merged with the reincarnation sword, that faith naturally didn't disappear. It was now carried by the reincarnation sword. The pure white light at that moment was the endless power of faith that had converged within the reincarnation sword all these years. This kind of power of faith was vast and pure. It could strengthen everything in the world. Kill! He roared furiously. Under the support of the endless faith, he held the reincarnation sword and slashed out a large amount of reincarnation sword astral. The cosmic space was torn apart. The dense reincarnation sword astral broke through everything and landed in front of Luanhui Wang in the blink of an eye. With a clang, the reincarnation disk was sent flying. The dense reincarnation sword astral landed on Luanhui Wang's body. PFFF! 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 Purple blood splattered. In the blink of an eye, Luanhui Wang was pierced through like a hornet's nest. Holding the reincarnation sword, he made his move again. He took a step forward and teleported endlessly. In an instant, he appeared in front of Luanhui Wang. Holding the reincarnation sword with both hands, he burst forth with even more terrifying sword might and slashed down ferociously. Scram! The reincarnation king spoke. His voice was ice-cold, and his killing intent was chilly. The reincarnation light surged, and the reincarnation wheel shook along with it. With a prung sound, Lin Tianjin was sent flying. Bright red blood splashed across the sky. However, in the blink of an eye, Lin Tian stabilized his body. His eye of destiny trembled slightly. He used his teleportation ability and appeared in front of Luanhui Wang once again. Holding the reincarnation sword with both hands, he slashed down again. PFFF. This time, Luanhui Wang didn't manage to block this sword. He was directly cut into two by this swift and fierce sword. However, in the next moment, Luanhui Wang's gaze was bone-piercing. The reincarnation Tao pattern in his reincarnation eye shone brightly. It caused Lin Tian's body to tremble violently. Suddenly, he felt as if he had fallen into an illusion. He clearly saw his divine soul being pulled into a reincarnation purgatory. Countless evil souls pounced on him and drowned his divine soul in an instant. They crazily tore at his divine soul. An extremely intense, pain was transmitted unceasingly. It was almost inhuman torture. Trapped in this illusion, Lin Tian didn't panic. His reincarnation, I trembled slightly. In an instant, the countless evil souls were shattered, and this illusion was destroyed. Even though his divine soul was in severe pain, he didn't care about it at all. The reincarnation sword in his hand, once again, slashed towards Luanhui Wang. That was the reincarnation purgatory. It was an almost realistic illusion technique. It was one of the abilities of the reincarnation eye. He had used it against Luo Sha Wang when he was still in the Dao fusion realm. Naturally, he was very clear about this illusion technique. He broke free from it in an instant. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. He held the reincarnation sword and slashed towards Luanhui Wang again. The moment the sword was unleashed, the space of the universe collapsed. With a bang, Luanhui Wang was sent flying along with the reincarnation disc. Purple blood splashed in all directions once again. Lin Tian took a step forward. Without any hesitation, without any confusion, his killing aura continued to rise sharply. Buzz! Using the reincarnation sword to slash at Reincarnation King, his left eye of destiny and right eye of reincarnation trembled lightly once again. The great fate vortex, reincarnation heavenly river, reincarnation giant beast, and great reincarnation crack were unleashed one after another, shaking all directions. At the same time, the completed reincarnation diagram rushed out from behind him. It was filled with vastness, majesty, and holiness as it pressed down together. The space of the universe was completely sealed off by his attack. The unparalleled destructive power pressed down on Luanhui Wang. Luanhui Wang steadied his body. His eyes became even colder. With a low roar, his innate reincarnation eye trembled slightly. The reincarnation blood sea emerged. The reincarnation heavenly waterfall reappeared. The reincarnation disc trembled once again as it bombarded towards Lin Tian. Boom! 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 The two of them clashed. The space of the universe was constantly collapsing and being destroyed. Purple blood and red blood splashed continuously. In the blink of an eye, the two of them fought fiercely for a total of 49 days. In these 49 days, the reincarnation light, the power of fortune, the reincarnation sword, and the reincarnation millstone collided again and again. Lin Tian was shattered hundreds of times. Luanhui Wang was also shattered hundreds of times. The blood of the two of them was annihilated inch by inch in the universe. On this day, 49 days later, Luanhui Wang was covered in blood. Cracks were all over his body. He was severely injured. The reincarnation disc was also filled with cracks. It seemed like it would collapse in the next moment. Lin Tian was also severely injured. After dozens of days of fierce battle, at this moment his body was like Luanhui Wang. It was also filled with cracks. The saint energy in his body was almost exhausted. His reincarnation eye and eye of destiny had already closed and disappeared. They turned into ordinary eyes. Under the situation where his saint energy was almost exhausted, he could no longer support these two pairs of divine eyes. Blood kept flowing out from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, as his saint energy was almost exhausted, his vision was a little blurred. I've said it before, an ant will always be an ant. Only defeat awaits. Luanhui Wang was covered in blood. He was not much better than Lin Tian. However, his reincarnation eye was still maintained. It was born from reincarnation. It was different from Lin Tian's reincarnation eye. His reincarnation eye was born. It was reincarnation eye since birth. It did not need saint energy to maintain it. The current him, although his injuries were the same as Lin Tian's, his innate reincarnation eye allowed him to maintain an absolute advantage at this moment. Under the situation where his injuries were exactly the same as Lin Tian's, he was able to maintain an absolute advantage. He looked at Lin Tian. His eyes were cold, as if he was a monarch looking down at the world. You are the first person who can hurt me to this extent. You should be proud of yourself. Take your petty hatred with you and die contentedly. The past, the present, and the future. This world belongs to me. I control this world and control the complete reincarnation. No one can stop me. With a boom, his reincarnation, I trembled slightly. Within it, dense reincarnation Tao patterns revolved, and the reincarnation Tao patterns on his face glowed as well. Dense reincarnation light surged out, and even though it wasn't as powerful as before, it was still a piece of cake for it to destroy the current Lin Tian. Lin Tian's aura was weak. His reincarnation eye and eye of destiny could not be maintained. His vision was even a little blurred. He could clearly feel that this reincarnation light could easily kill the current him. However, facing this surging reincarnation light, he looked at Luanhui Wang. There was no fear in his expression. You have no future. Death is your only ending today. As his words fell, strands of saint runes of order appeared outside his body and surrounded him. Immediately, at the next moment, an extremely terrifying aura surged out from his body. It caused the universe space to tremble. Huge cracks appeared one after another. The entire universe seemed like it was going to explode at the next moment. Ever since he stepped into this place and fought fiercely with Luanhui King until now, the battle had lasted for more than 10 days. All of the destructive power that Luanhui King bombarded his body with had been smelted by his divine ability of order all this while. At this moment, it erupted. For dozens of days, all the power that Luanhui Wang bombarded on his body was unleashed twice at this moment. Absolute counterattack. Berserk fluctuations surged around his body. A hurricane of destruction spread out from his body. At this moment, his aura had reached an extremely high level. It was as if he had stepped out of the profound heaven realm and reached an even higher level. Luanhui Wang's expression changed immediately. He couldn't stop trembling. The reincarnation light that was prepared to suppress Lin Tian with his reincarnation, I was instantly crushed by the aura emitted by Lin Tian. You. At this moment, this true master of the celestial court, Luanhui Wang, who was born from reincarnation, his previous cold expression completely disappeared. It was replaced by fear. The aura emitted by Lin Tian at this moment made him tremble uncontrollably. At the next moment, with a swoosh, he didn't hesitate. With endless fear, he directly fled to the distance. Outside Lin Tian's body, countless saint runes of order revolved. Looking at Luanhui Wang, who was fleeing in fear, he didn't chase after him. Grandpa, third uncle, third aunt, seventh uncle, Bebe, Xiongzi Dagu, Little Shirtu, Little Chili Pepper. One by one, familiar names came out from his mouth. In the end, it turned into a furious roar. Luanhui Wang's. The saint energy that could truly destroy heaven and earth erupted from his body. Looking at Luanhui Wang, who was fleeing in fear, he waved his fist. Endless destructive power wrapped around the tip of his fist and turned into a destructive fist light. In an instant, Luanhui Wang was submerged in it. The universe rumbled. There was no time to scream, no chance to scream. In just an instant, under this destructive fist light, Luanhui Wang's entire body disintegrated. Both his body and soul were exterminated. The reincarnation disk beside him also turned into ashes along with it. Chapter 2348. The universe in all directions shook violently, and the aura of destruction gradually subsided in the next moment. The center of this universe was much quieter in an instant, and only the melodious sound of the flute could be heard. Then, the sound of the flute gradually dissipated. Wu Yi's white robe was whiter than snow, and she no longer played the reincarnation tribulation song. Only the vigorous holy light interweaved in the center of this universe, supporting the space for everyone who had sacrificed their cultivation and lost their cultivation to survive in the universe. Everyone was in the space supported by Wu Yi, and they were all in a daze at this moment. Then, everyone couldn't help but tremble slightly, and they were all excited. We won! Whooshing Crocodile couldn't help but roar out, clenching its claws. Dad! Lin Tian! Big Brother! Master! Immortal Emperor! Everyone looked at Lin Tian at this moment. Everyone's face was full of excitement, and everyone's eyes were full of excitement. We won! Reincarnation King of the Celestial Court was killed by Lin Tian on this day, Junior Brother. Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Heavenly Lord, and Solar Heavenly Lord looked at Lin Tian with smiles on their faces. Reincarnation King was killed, and Rakshasa King, Netherworld King, and the others had disappeared. More than 10 sinners who made their junior brother fall into deep hatred were all dead on this day. On this day, their little junior brother finally got his revenge. This world is truly peaceful. The countless lives that we lost can finally rest in peace today. Martial Ancestor said, "Previously, when I saw that kid couldn't even support Rinnegan and Eye of Destiny, I thought it was over. I didn't expect there to be such a reversal." Old Gangster's face was full of shock. At the very end, that punch seemed to be the power of order, a supernatural power of order. Old Daoist was also shocked. What kind of supernatural power of order did he deduce? To be able to burst out such a terrifying power with one punch, what a stunning punch! Primitive Emperor praised. Everyone was in the holy splendor space that Wu Yi had created. At this moment, all eyes were on Lin Tian. Luanhui Wang was killed. Lin Tian's great enmity was completely avenged. This world was truly at peace. Because of this, they were extremely happy. At the same time, they were also shocked by Lin Tian's final fist. The might of that punch shook the minds of everyone. In front of him, Lin Tian was covered in blood as he stood in space. The Reincarnation Heart Sutra circulated automatically in his body. His injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even as he stood in this extremely dilapidated universe, his body of reincarnation couldn't help but tremble slightly. The old patriarch who raised him up, the aunts and uncles who loved him dearly, the playmates who grew up with him, all of them were no longer around. Luanhui Wang and the others who made him lose all of them were all killed by him today. This blood feud was finally avenged. Even as he stood in this dilapidated universe, the faces of the old patriarch and the others seemed to appear in front of his eyes again. They appeared in front of him one by one. They smiled at him, they waved at him, and then they dissipated one after another. His nose was slightly sour as he wiped away a drop of tear from the corner of his eye. His whole person instantly became incomparably relaxed. In the dilapidated universe battlefield, he turned around and walked towards Wu Yi and the others. In just a flash, he arrived in front of them. "Congratulations," Wu Yi said softly. A gentle smile appeared on her beautiful face, adding a bit of light to this dilapidated universe. The blood feud was finally avenged today. It was reasonable to be happy. Lin Tian nodded heavily, looked at her, and then looked at the others. "Daddy!" Ruoxian trotted forward and threw herself on Lin Tian. Although she had lost all her cultivation and became an ordinary person, in the same energy space supported by Wu Yi, her movements were not affected at all in this universe. Lin Tian stroked Ruoxian's hair lovingly, and then looked at Jiyu, Bai Qiu, and the others. He looked at his 9 senior brothers, looked at Bai Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, Little Taichu, and the others, looked at the old gangster and the old Daoist, looked at his 2 disciples, Snow Wolf, and the immortal soldiers and immortal generals. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't know how to start. They sacrificed all their cultivation and turned it into power for him. Although they were still alive, they had all become ordinary people. From a powerful cultivator to an ordinary person, this was like falling from heaven to hell in an instant. "Kid, don't frown." Wuxing Crocodile opened his mouth and said, "Didn't your senior brother say that it's only cultivation? It's not a big deal. We are all still alive now. As for cultivation, we can just cultivate again in the future. Moreover, if we don't sacrifice our cultivation to you, we will all be killed by Luanhui Wang. That's not a pity at all." "That's right, kid. Don't think too much." White Tiger also opened his mouth. They were all extremely powerful beast cultivators. They had reached an extremely high level. Therefore, even if they sacrificed their cultivation and lost their battle power, they could still speak human language. "Little brother, don't mind it. On the contrary, you should feel proud. We should thank you." Primitive Emperor opened his mouth and said, "You are the one who fought at the forefront. You are the one who shed blood. What we sacrificed is really nothing. On this day, You have avenged your family and friends. You have also avenged the countless creatures that died in the hands of the Celestial Court. At the same time, you have protected the countless creatures that still exist in this world, allowing this world to be truly peaceful. On the other hand, we have come here without losing a single person. It's just a little bit of cultivation. What is it? Looking at Lin Tian, he had a gentle smile on his face. For us, this day is an absolute victory. On this day, at this time, you don't need to have any worries. Congratulations and happiness are the most suitable for you. Lin Tian opened his mouth. Although Primitive Emperor's words were true, he still didn't feel good in his heart. It was also at this time that another voice sounded. Primitive Emperor, you have summed it up well. An old drunkard and Qing Xian appeared in this place together. Master's wife. Lin Tian immediately went forward to greet them. Master's wife. Grandmaster's wife. Fengshen Tianzuan and the Primal Chaos Heavenly Lord stepped forward. Ruoxin also stepped forward and spoke one after another. Human King, Saintess of all heavens, finally came out. The old drunkard spoke, paused for a moment, and suddenly rolled his eyes. This feeling, you guys have been watching from the side? The old Taoist Primitive Emperor, Martial Ancestor, and the other former top powerhouses all had their eyes on an old drunkard in Qingxian. And more of their gazes fell on an old drunkard. Because an old drunkard was the Human King. You really watched from the side? Didn't make a move? The old Taoist stared. An old drunkard smiled faintly. If I made a move, it would be meaningless. He wants to take revenge with his own hands. As he spoke, he looked at Lin Tian beside him and reached out to rub Lin Tian's head. His eyes were gentle. You did well. Now, do you feel relaxed? He knew best that this little disciple of his had suffered too much all these years. Hatred almost crushed him. Yes. Lin Tian nodded. The blood feud had been avenged. Now, it was as if a part of the sky that had been pressing down on his shoulders had been removed. He felt much more relaxed. Then, he opened his mouth and looked at Fengshen Tianzuan and the others, but Senior Brother and the others, and everyone else, all of their cultivations, except for Wu Yi who played the Reincarnation Tribulation song and supported the living space. Everyone else had all given him their cultivations and turned them into his power. On this day, they had all become ordinary mortals. Although everyone was enlightening him, he still couldn't take it to heart. An old drunkard smiled faintly. It's not a big deal. He rubbed Lin Tian's head again, and his right hand landed on Lin Tian's chest. The aura of time and space surged, and a circle of holy light appeared, turning into a large expanse of gentle light that spread out. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped Fengshen Tianzuan and the others who had lost their cultivations. In an instant, Fengshen Tianzuan and the others trembled. Except for Wu Yi, everyone who had lost their cultivations began to feel their essence, qi, and spirit rapidly rising. This is... The old drunkard's eyes widened. At this moment, he could clearly feel that his lost cultivation was recovering at an extremely shocking speed. In just an instant, he had returned to the Saint King realm, and there was no immortal ascension tribulation. At the same time, everyone else also felt their cultivations recovering rapidly, and they were all shocked. Buzz! The gentle light continued to intertwine in this broken universe, and circles of light entered everyone's bodies. In the blink of an eye, dozens of breaths passed, and Fengshen Tianzuan and the others who had lost their cultivations all recovered their cultivations. At this moment, there was no need for Wu Yi to continue supporting the living space. Everyone could now survive in this part of the universe. Everyone was stunned at this moment, and they could not stop trembling. Even the immortal spirit ancestor was no exception. They had clearly sacrificed all their cultivations and turned them into pure energy for Lin Tian, but now, an old drunkard had made a move. In just dozens of breaths, they had all lost their cultivations that had been sacrificed, and they had all recovered. What kind of method was this? In just dozens of breaths, they had all recovered their lost cultivations. Was this something that a human could do? Human King, you The immortal spirit ancestor looked at an old drunkard in shock. He was called the Old Demon by the Celestial Court, and was the person whom the Celestial Court feared the most besides the human king. He knew very well that the human king was very terrifying, but he did not expect it to be this terrifying. He could actually recover all their lost cultivations in just dozens of breaths. What kind of strength did one need to be able to do this? Just from this scene, he knew that an old drunkard's true height had completely overturned his understanding of the world. At this moment, he felt that if an old drunkard wanted to make a move, the Celestial Court's Luane Wong would definitely not be able to take even one move. The difference in level was too great. At this moment, seeing everyone's cultivations recover in the blink of an eye, even someone as calm as Wu Yi's eyes could not help but fluctuate. Lin Tian was naturally shocked as well, but this shock disappeared in the blink of an eye. In his heart, his teacher was omnipotent. At this moment, as his 9 senior brothers, his precious daughter, Ji Yu, and the rest of the people's cultivations were all recovered by an old drunkard, he completely relaxed. "Thank you, master." "Thank you." Looking at his teacher in front of him, his face was filled with excitement. Then, in the next moment, he suddenly trembled slightly, and a wave of dizziness came from his head. Their cultivations turned into power and entered your body, using you as a medium to cast a technique. You will be weak for a while, but you will recover very quickly, an old drunkard said. Lin Tian nodded, and just as he was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed again. He found that an old drunkard's body had become a little fainter. "Master, what's wrong with you?" He became anxious. At the same time, Fengshen Tianzuan and the rest, as well as Ruoxian and the rest, also discovered the situation, and each of their expressions changed. "Master, what's wrong with you?" "Grandmaster, your body?" Fengshen Tianzuan and the rest, as well as Ruoxian, spoke one after another. Immortal spirit ancestor and the rest were also moved, and each of their gazes fell on an old drunkard. Lin Tian was the most anxious, and his palms were sweating. "Master, what's wrong with you?" His teacher was like a father to him, and if something happened to him, he really could not bear it. An old drunkard looked at him with a gentle expression. "It's easy to destroy, but it's hard to rebuild. To recover their cultivations, we have to pay a price." He smiled and said, "However, there's no need to worry. It's just a wisp of soul that was once projected into the 9th dimension. It's not a big deal." Chapter 2349. Soul Remembrance? Lin Tian's expression changed. "Master, this isn't your original body?" Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Heavenly Lord, and the other 8 people's expressions changed slightly. At the same time, the immortal spirit ancestor, Old Gangster, and the others' expressions changed. Even Wu Yi's expression changed. It was just a wisp of soul remembrance, but it was so powerful. "No, it's not my original body now. It's never been my original body." An old drunkard looked at Lin Tian and smiled faintly. "However, there were many disturbances when I projected my soul remembrance. There were many flaws in my memory. I was even forced to reincarnate once when I first projected my soul remembrance. It wasn't until I brought you into the cycle of reincarnation that I was affected by the cycle of reincarnation that I remembered this." Lin Tian's expression changed again. "Master, do you mean that when you accepted eldest senior brother, the others, and me, it was your soul remembrance? It was always your soul remembrance?" His eyes were filled with shock. All this time, the master of him and his 9 senior brothers was only a wisp of soul remembrance. "Master, is that true?" Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Heavenly Lord, and the other 8 people's expressions all changed. At the same time, the immortal spirit ancestor, Old Gangster, and the others couldn't help but be shocked. "Is it really like what Kidlin said?" Old Gangster's eyes almost popped out. He looked at an old drunkard like a mortal looking at a legendary immortal. "You can reincarnate with just a wisp of soul remembrance, regenerate a physical body, and cultivate again." Soul remembrance was equivalent to a wisp of spiritual consciousness. It was completely insignificant. Just a wisp of soul remembrance could be reincarnated and cultivated. He could not understand it all. How powerful did one need to be able to do such a thing? At this moment, everyone looked at an old drunkard. Lin Tian was the most concerned. He stared at an old drunkard in front of him without blinking. An old drunkard smiled faintly as he rubbed Lin Tian's head and said, "It's like that. Your mistress and I are the same. Back then, when we projected our souls into this world from the ninth dimension, we were both greatly disturbed by certain matters and were even forced to reincarnate separately. Fortunately, we were branded with the heart-linking seal at the beginning, so even though we were forced to reincarnate separately, we were still able to find each other in this world in the end. In terms of memories, I only recovered them during the cycle of reincarnation." Hearing an old drunkard's affirmation, the shock in Lin Tian's eyes grew even stronger. Then, he couldn't help but look at Qing Xian, Master's wife. It was actually just a strand of soul from the very beginning. Master, you. At the same time, Fengshen Tianzuan and the primal chaos heavenly sovereign were even more shocked. The shock in the eyes of the others became even denser. The impact of this matter on everyone was simply too great. In this world, the legendary, invincible human monarch was actually just a strand of soul from the very beginning. The human monarch's Tao companion, the all-heaven saintess, was the same. She was also just a strand of soul from the very beginning. Grand Master, Grand Preceptor's wife, you? Ruoxian's eyes widened. This matter was too shocking. Everyone, including Lin Tian, who was now in the mysterious heaven realm, was shocked. It wasn't until dozens of breaths later that everyone reluctantly accepted this fact, but it was difficult for them to calm down. Master, you mentioned that you projected your soul from the ninth dimension. Your and Mistress's bodies are in the ninth dimension, right? Lin Tian asked. Everyone else also looked at an old drunkard. Facing everyone's gaze, an old drunkard nodded. That's right. Then, is it a new world on a higher level? Lin Tian asked. To be precise, it's a new world on a higher level, an old drunkard said. As soon as he said this, Lin Tian's expression changed. Bai Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, Ling Yun, and the others were also shocked. Because an old drunkard said, "Heaven and earth. More than one world. There are other worlds outside this one." Looking at an old drunkard, Lin Tian's eyelids couldn't help but twitch violently. An old drunkard nodded. The space we are in now is called the four-dimensional world. Above it is the five-dimensional world, the six-dimensional world, the seven-dimensional world, the eight-dimensional world, and the nine-dimensional world. The four-dimensional world, the five-dimensional world, the six-dimensional world, the seven-dimensional world, the eight-dimensional world, and the nine-dimensional world. Lin Tian was stunned and couldn't help but mutter to himself, "So, there is more than one world." Everyone else was also in a daze. In the past countless years, all of them thought that there was only one world. Who would have thought that this wasn't the case? An old drunkard nodded and said, "The worlds above, in layman's terms, are spaces of a higher dimension. Each level is stronger than the previous one. The five-dimensional world surpasses the four-dimensional world. The six-dimensional world surpasses the five-dimensional world. The seven-dimensional world surpasses the six-dimensional world. The eight-dimensional world surpasses the seven-dimensional world. And the nine-dimensional world surpasses the eight-dimensional world. The two worlds adjacent to each other are similar to the difference between the celestial realm of nothingness and an ordinary planet. The living beings, spiritual energy, rules, and laws that exist in each world are qualitatively different when compared to each other. Let me give a simple example. In the four-dimensional world, if an ordinary person doesn't embark on the path of cultivation, their lifespan is about 100 years. In the five-dimensional world, an ordinary living being can live up to 1,000 years, even if they don't cultivate. In terms of strength, even if they don't cultivate, they have at least the combat power of the sea of knowledge level. This is the difference between the two worlds. He continued, if we compare it to the cultivation world, the difference between the two worlds adjacent to each other is even greater. In the four-dimensional world, those powerful bloodlines or monarch physiques are nothing when compared to the five-dimensional world. The higher dimension suppresses the lower dimension. Lin Tian was in a daze as he listened. His heart was filled with shock. In the five-dimensional world, An ordinary living being can live up to 1,000 years even if they don't cultivate. Can they live for 1,000 years? In their world, those powerful bloodlines or monarch physiques are nothing when compared to the five-dimensional world. This was just like what old Drunkard had said. It was truly a difference of dimensions. Then, that is to say, after the mystic heaven realm, there are higher realms? He continued to ask. In fact, he already knew this when he saw an old Drunkard restore everyone's cultivation, because that method was simply too heaven-defying. It was definitely not something a mystic heaven realm cultivator could do. Not to mention, an old Drunkard was only a strand of his soul. If a strand of his soul had the ability to leave his body and reincarnate, and his strength was far stronger than a mystic heaven realm cultivator, then the cultivation of an old Drunkard's main body was naturally even more frightening. It probably surpassed the mystic heaven realm by an endless amount. After the mystic heaven realm, there were naturally higher realms. Beside him, the others also looked at an old Drunkard. They were extremely concerned about this point. An old Drunkard naturally wouldn't hide it and said, "The mystic heaven realm is also known as the four-dimensional realm. After that, it is the Tao conversion realm, manifestation realm, pure sun realm, fifth dimension, Hotian realm, heaven realm, Sciention realm, sixth dimension, silent void realm, silent God realm, silent soul realm, seventh dimension, alpha origin realm, breaking desolation realm, tribulation realm, eighth dimension, primordial realm, creation realm, tribulation realm, ninth dimension, and finally, the supreme of heaven and earth." He continued, "Among these realms, the tribulation realm and the tribulation realm are more special. In these two realms, every time you advance a small stage, the tribulation realm will attract 1,000-stage heavenly tribulation, and the tribulation realm will attract a 10,000-stage heavenly tribulation. Therefore, they're called the tribulation realm and the tribulation realm." It can be said that these two realms are completely destructive. Lin Tian's eyelids couldn't help but twitch. There were actually so many realms after the mystic heaven realm. Although he had already guessed that the mystic heaven realm wasn't the end of cultivation and that there were other realms after it, he didn't expect there to be so many. After calculating, there were a total of 21 realms after the mystic heaven realm. Moreover, in the tribulation realm, every time you advance a small stage, you will attract 1,000-stage heavenly tribulation. And in the tribulation realm, every time you advance a small stage, you will attract a 10,000-stage heavenly tribulation. What kind of regret was that? All along, he had thought that his heavenly tribulation was terrifying enough, including the heavenly tribulation that mutated after he came out of the space-time dimension. The maximum number of heavenly tribulation realm lightning punishment was 81. But what he didn't expect was that the tribulation realm and the tribulation realm would attract 1,000-stage heavenly tribulation realm lightning punishment and 10,000-stage heavenly tribulation realm lightning punishment. Could he survive that? It was simply destruction for the sake of destruction. Most importantly, in those two realms, every time you advance a small stage, you will attract 1,000-stage heavenly tribulation and 10,000-stage heavenly tribulation. On the side, the others were also shocked. They couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They were shocked by the mystic heaven empress's realms, but they were also shocked by the tribulation realm and the tribulation realm. They were all stunned. Lin Tian paused and put away the shock in his heart. He thought of something and asked an old Drunkard, "Master, what realm is your original body at?" When he asked this, the others immediately looked at an old Drunkard. They were all very concerned about this point. An old Drunkard smiled faintly. Beside him, Qing Xian opened her mouth and said with a smile, "Your master is the king of eternity in the ninth dimension." When she said this, everyone was stunned and then trembled violently. King of eternity in the ninth dimension. What did this mean? "Master, you are the supreme of heaven and earth?" Lin Tian was shocked. An old Drunkard smiled faintly and nodded. After receiving this affirmative answer, Lin Tian was even more shocked. At the same time, he couldn't help but feel a little excited. Beside him, Fengshen Tianzun, primal chaos, heavenly venerable, and the rest of the 9 were all shocked and excited like him. After all, this was their master. Their master was the supreme of heaven and earth. How could they not be excited? At the same time, the immortal spirit ancestor and the others were extremely shocked. It turned out that the human king they knew was actually that level of existence. That scared me to death. That scared me to death. Whooshing crocodile and white tiger's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Little Taichu followed closely behind. His big eyes almost fell on an old drunkard. That scared me to death. Lin Tian's master was so terrifying, supreme of heaven and earth. Grandmaster, you are so powerful. Ruoxian's eyes lit up. Then, she looked at Qing Xian, Grand Preceptor's wife. Are you also a supreme of heaven and earth? Qing Xian rubbed Ruoxian's head dotingly and smiled. No, my main body is in the 9th dimension. There are only 9 people in the 9th dimension who are at the supreme of heaven and earth level. As she spoke, she looked at Lin Tian. Only then did she open her mouth again. With a gentle smile on her face, she said to Ruoxian, your grandfather and grandmother are both at this height. P.S. Let everyone know. Up until now, all the realms in the 10 direction have been released by everyone. There won't be any other realms in the future. Dragon also told everyone about this before. These realms and geographical divisions were set from the beginning. It wasn't something that Dragon wanted to write endlessly. It was still the same heartfelt words that Dragon had said to everyone back then. In fact, as more and more things were involved, it was really tiring to continue writing now. Continuing to write this book was far less relaxing than Dragon Kaisen. In fact, Dragon's royalties for starting a new book would be much higher than continuing to write this book. The reason why Dragon continued to write was to complete the story he said at the beginning for everyone to read. After all, it still involved Lin Tian's parents, Lin Tian's sealed soul root, why Lin Tian was sent to the 4th dimension, and why the human king came to the 4th dimension. Also, although Dragon had designed many realms in this book, Dragon's progress in the realms of the characters in the book had always been faster. Therefore, the total number of words in this book was actually not that many compared to all the novels currently. Although Dark Sky Empress still had 21 realms in this book, the progress of the realms would be faster than before. Therefore, it wouldn't take too long to write. In short, I hope everyone can understand. Thank you. Chapter 2350. Hearing Qing Xian's words, Ruoxian was stunned. Grandpa! Grandma, then, she tilted her head and looked at her father, Lin Tian. At the same time, everyone else also looked at Lin Tian, their eyes full of shock. Ruoxian's grandparents, weren't they Lin Tian's parents? Lin Tian's parents were both supremes of heaven and earth. Lin Tian's body of reincarnation trembled violently, and his heartbeat accelerated several times in an instant. Master's wife, just now you said, his voice was trembling a bit. Then, he hurriedly looked towards the old drunkard beside him. Even his great success reincarnation body couldn't help but tremble slightly. Master, once he was picked up and raised by the old patriarch. After that, he almost never thought about his parents. He only thought about his parents when Wu Yi and the divine Qi Mu Xingshu were reunited, but he didn't think too much about it. However, this didn't mean that he didn't care about his parents. In fact, he cared a lot about them. Who in this world wouldn't care about their parents? Originally, he thought that he would never come into contact with anything related to his parents, and he would never know who his parents were. He even guessed that his parents might have passed away a long time ago. However, he never imagined that he would hear about his parents right here, right now, from his master's wife. How could he not be moved? How could he not be moved? Don't worry. An old drunkard naturally understood Lin Tian's feelings at this time. He smiled gently. There has always been a saying in the 9th dimension. Throughout the ages, there is only the eternal celestial emperor. It refers to your father, the celestial emperor. There is another saying, in the world, there is only the goddess. It refers to your mother, the goddess. Both of them are at the level of supremes of heaven and earth. Lin Tian heard this and became even more excited. His body of reincarnation couldn't help but tremble slightly. From the moment he could remember until now, he finally knew who his parents were. Moreover, from an old drunkard's words and expression, his parents were undoubtedly still alive. In the future, he would be able to see his parents. At this moment, he was only excited because he knew who his parents were. As for how powerful his parents were, he had neglected them. On the other side, the others were already very surprised when they heard Xian mention Ruoxian's grandparents. Now that they heard the old drunkard's words, the shock in their eyes became even stronger, and all of them widened their eyes. Father is the celestial emperor. Mother is goddess. Supremes of heaven and earth. This. The five elements crocodile stuttered and was almost petrified on the spot. The celestial emperor's parents are the immortal soldiers and immortal generals of the celestial court trembled slightly. They were extremely shocked. The old gangster looked at Lin Tian, and his eyes almost popped out at this time. My goodness! His background, Lin Tian was actually the son of the celestial emperor and goddess in the 9th dimension. Everyone was completely and utterly stunned at this moment. What kind of person dared to be called the celestial emperor? What kind of person could be called goddess? At this moment, everyone was shocked. Not to mention the realm. Just these two titles alone were enough to make people feel awe and veneration. Without a doubt, the two people, Lin Tian's parents, were almost invincible even at the level of supremes of heaven and earth. Grandpa, Grandma, after the shock, Ruoxian was very excited. She had never thought about her grandparents. She didn't expect that on this day, she would learn about her grandparents from Qing Xian and an old drunkard. Her grandparents were actually such powerful existences. After the shock, Jiyu, by Qiu, Shuiyi, Sushu, Yinya, the Violet Fairy, and Lin Shi couldn't help but be excited and happy. They were excited for Lin Tian, happy for Lin Tian, and even Wu Yi was no exception. Congratulations! A gentle smile appeared on Wu Yi's beautiful face. On this day, this was the second time she said these two words to Lin Tiandao. Congratulations, Lin Tian. Lord Big Brother, congratulations. Congratulations, Big Brother. Master, congratulations. Jiyu, by Qiu, Shuiyi, Sushu, Yinya, the Violet Fairy, Lin Shi, Yitong, and the little fox spoke one after another. On this day, Lin Tian killed Luanhui Wang, Xian Tian, and Xian Di, avenging his blood feud. Then on this day, he learned about his background and who his parents were, and that they were still alive. They were all very happy. Bai Ziki, Fanning Xiong, and Shui, Jiang Luluo, Little Taichu, Wuxing Crocodile, and White Tiger also congratulated him. Congratulations, Lord Immortal Emperor. 10 billion immortal soldiers and immortal generals shouted in unison, all of them excited and excited. This day was really a good day for their leader. Lin Tian was naturally the most excited. It was only after dozens of breaths that he calmed down a little. After calming down a little, he thought of another question. He looked at an old drunkard and asked, then, Master, why did they? He paused and changed his question. Why am I in this world? His parents were from the 9th dimension heaven, and they were the supreme beings of the 9th dimension heaven. He should have been born in the 9th dimension heaven, but why was he in the 4th dimension heaven when he was still an infant? When he asked this question, he was more or less uneasy, afraid that he was abandoned. If that was the case, he would rather not know who his parents were. Hearing his question, the people around him could not help but be puzzled. Indeed, since Lin Tian's parents were the heavenly emperor and goddess of the 9th dimension heaven, then Lin Tian was definitely born in the 9th dimension heaven. However, in fact, Lin Tian was picked up and raised in this world by the old patriarch. This was very strange. Lin Tian looked straight at an old drunkard. He could not help but clench his fists. At this moment, he became a little nervous. He was afraid of hearing something bad. An old drunkard naturally knew what Lin Tian was worried about. You're afraid that you were abandoned by your parents? Looking at Lin Tian, he smiled warmly and said, How could such a thing happen? They sent you down here because they had the highest expectations for you. It is somewhat similar to the reason why your teacher's wife and I sent our soul thoughts to this world. When Lin Tian heard this, he instantly relaxed. The uneasiness in his heart disappeared without a trace. He was really afraid that he was abandoned. Then, why did they send me to this world? Also, Master, why did you and your master's wife project your souls to this world? He asked. Beside him, Fengshen Tianzuan, primal chaos, celestial lord, and the rest of the people also looked at an old drunkard. Everyone was very curious about why Lin Tian was sent to this four-dimensional world by the heavenly emperor and goddess, and why an old drunkard and Qing Xian projected their souls to this world from the ninth dimension heaven. They all wanted to know. An old drunkard naturally intended to tell Lin Tian about this matter, since he mentioned it. However, at this time, when Lin Tian asked about this matter, an old drunkard did not directly answer. Instead, he asked Lin Tiandao, do you know, among all the known worlds, which world do the true powerhouses fear the most? Lin Tianwei was puzzled. Why did he suddenly ask this question? However, although he had doubts in his heart, he did not care. Looking at an old drunkard's expression, he thought for a while and said uncertainly, it's this four-dimensional world? An old drunkard smiled faintly and patted Lin Tian's head gently. That's right, he said, above the four-dimensional world, there are the fifth dimension heaven, the sixth dimension heaven, the seventh dimension heaven, the eighth dimension heaven, and the ninth dimension heaven. These 5 worlds are only formed by endless stars and an incomparably vast central world. Unlike the four-dimensional world, which has endless stars, countless small worlds, countless large worlds, numerous extremely large worlds, and a few large universes. In terms of comprehensive dimensions, the 5 worlds far surpass this four-dimensional world. Among them, the fifth dimension heaven has 5 types of fifth dimension law. The sixth dimension heaven has 6 types of sixth dimension law. The seventh dimension heaven has 7 types of seventh dimension law. The eighth dimension heaven has 8 types of eighth dimension law. And the ninth dimension heaven has 9 types of ninth dimension law. They are considered the strongest foundation of each of the 5 worlds and are the pillars of strength of each of the 5 worlds. Each dimension is stronger than the last, and each dimension is more terrifying than the last. However, no matter how high the dimensions of the 5 worlds are, no matter how terrifying their fundamental laws are, they are nothing in front of the 4th dimension law of this four-dimensional world. If one can completely control the 4th dimension law, everything else will seem pale and powerless. Everything will be as insignificant as a speck of dust. However, that Zong's 4th dimension law is too unusual. Not to mention completely controlling it. Even controlling it is almost impossible. On the other hand, if one is unable to completely control it, its might will not have any advantage compared to the 5th dimension law, the 6th dimension law, and the 7th dimension law. In an extremely long period of time, there were countless experts who tried to control it. However, each and every one of them ended up in the most miserable state. Moreover, the majority of the experts believed that it was impossible for anyone to completely control the 4th dimension law, not even the sovereigns of heaven and earth. After that, gradually, no one dared to try to control the 4th dimension law. However, after that, after a long period of time, there were still people who managed to successfully control the 4th dimension law. 2 people. An old drunkard looked at Lin Tiandao with a gentle smile. One is Luanhui King, and the other is you. When Lin Tiandao heard this, he was immediately moved and revealed a shocked expression. That 4th dimension law sect is reincarnation. At the same time, the others were also moved. After listening to an old drunkard's words, they had also guessed this point. Were the supreme experts in the higher realms fearful of this realm because of the reincarnation cycle? That's right, it's reincarnation. An old drunkard said, Luanhui King is a saint spirit that was born from reincarnation. He is considered to be blessed by the heavens as he was born with the ability to control reincarnation. He was born with the eye of reincarnation. However, up until now, the reincarnation that he has controlled is only the tip of the iceberg of the complete reincarnation. The reason why he smelted the universes of this world was because he wanted to smelt all of them and absorb the power of all living things in this world so that he could control the complete reincarnation in his hands. Unfortunately, even though he was born from reincarnation and had the advantage of being blessed by the heavens, it is still impossible for him to control the complete reincarnation. He is far from having that kind of potential. No matter what he does, it is all in vain. As he said that, he looked at Lin Tiandao. His eyes became deep, and there were traces of light interweaving. The reason why your parents sent you down here was because they expected you to be able to control the complete reincarnation. That is because you have that kind of potential. In terms of potential, no matter if it is me, your father, or your mother, none of us can compare to you. Chapter 23:51. Upon hearing an old drunkard's words, Lin Tian's expression changed. Beside him, everyone else's expression changed as well. Lin Tian's parents sent Lin Tian from the ninth dimension to this world in hopes that Lin Tian would be able to control the complete cycle of reincarnation. Lin Tian's potential was so great that even an old drunkard, the heavenly emperor, and the goddess could not compare to it. But, Master, I've never felt like someone wanted me to control reincarnation. Lin Tian opened his mouth and looked at an old drunkard in confusion. Moreover, in terms of potential, how can I compare to you, Master? Being sent from the ninth dimension to this world in the fourth dimension, if his parents really wanted him to control the complete cycle of reincarnation, they would definitely have left him such a clue. However, he had never felt such a feeling before. As for the potential that an old drunkard mentioned, this made him even more confused. Regarding his parents whom he had never met, he only knew the height of their realm. Fundamentally speaking, he was not clear about the abilities and potential of his parents. However, an old drunkard, the master in front of him, he was very clear about his abilities and potential. Although he seemed to have undergone a transformation after recovering his memories in the illusory flame galaxy and his previous life, and his potential was stronger than Wu Yi's, he did not think that he could compare to his master. However, his master said such a thing at this time, saying that his potential was far inferior to his. This made him unable to understand. An old drunkard smiled faintly. His right hand moved slightly, and a stone seal the size of a baby's fist appeared. It was densely covered with ancient runes, and each ancient rune was incomparably profound and complex, like the sacred runes at the beginning of the world. It was difficult to understand. Lin Tian's expression changed again, and his expression changed slightly. He couldn't really understand the ancient patterns on the stone seal, but he could feel an extremely familiar aura from it at the first moment. Master, this is? He could not help but ask. An old drunkard said, the stone seal that your father refined. When Lin Tian heard this, his body trembled slightly. No wonder he felt a very familiar aura from the stone seal. This stone seal was actually made by his father, whom he had never met. That? Grandpa refined it. Ruoxin was shocked. Wu Yi, Jiyu, Bai Qiu, and the others all looked at the stone seal in an old drunkard's hand and were all moved. On the other side, Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos, Celestial Venerable, Sun Celestial Venerable, and the others were also shocked. This small stone seal, the size of a baby's fist, was actually made by the celestial sovereign of the ninth dimension. Lin Tian's gaze was fixed on the stone seal. This was because this stone seal was made by his father, whom he had never met. Looking at this stone seal and feeling the familiar aura on it made him feel as if he had met his father. An old drunkard looked at him and smiled gently. Now, you must have a lot of doubts in your heart. Don't worry, Master will slowly explain them to you. As he spoke, he paused slightly and asked, do you know what a soul root is? Soul root? Lin Tianwei was puzzled. He thought for a while and said, I don't know. This was the first time he had heard of this word, and he did not understand it at all. I don't know either. What is that, Grandmaster? Ruoxin was also curious and asked an old drunkard. Master, what does that mean? Fengshen Tianzuan also asked. For a moment, everyone looked at an old drunkard. Like Lin Tianyi, this was the first time everyone had heard of the word soul root, and they did not know what it was at all. An old drunkard smiled and said, it's normal that you don't know, because there is no such thing in the fourth dimension. It only exists in the fifth dimension. He said, the so-called soul root is the foundation of the soul and spirit. It is the source of the potential of all living beings. It is more important than the origin of life and is the most important thing for all living beings. In the upper dimension, those powerful orthodoxies and families judge the quality of their disciples and family members by examining the soul root. He looked at Lin Tian and did not stop. Wisps of light intertwined in his eyes, and he continued, "Back then, when your master's wife and I brought you into the reincarnation cycle, we were affected by the reincarnation cycle and recovered our memories in the ninth dimension. At that time, we saw that you were special. 90% of your soul root was sealed by an extremely powerful technique, which suppressed your aptitude and potential infinitely. That kind of sealing technique was exquisite and mysterious, and it was definitely not something that a cultivator in the fourth dimension could perform. It was done by a supreme being of heaven and earth. After that, your master's wife and I reincarnated and recovered our memories in the ninth dimension. We also remembered that we saw your soul root in the reincarnation cycle. So we went to the place where the old patriarch picked you up. There, we found this extraordinary stone seal buried under the soil. After that, through it, we gradually learned many things. This stone seal was refined by your father when he sent you into this world. It entered your body and entered this world together with you. It left behind a lot of information for you, including your identity, the reason why you were sent down, the fact that 90% of your soul root was sealed, and the ancient technique to unseal it. Originally, this stone seal should have existed in your body. However, after you entered this world, it was disturbed by some reason and fell out of your body. Back then, when the old patriarch picked you up, the stone seal that fell out of your body was actually not far away from you. However, the old patriarch was just an ordinary person and did not pay attention to it. He only brought you back to the tribe when you were still in your infancy to raise you. Because of this, the trajectory of your life underwent a huge change. You knew nothing about all of this. Looking at Lin Tian, he said, "Your soul root was sealed by your father. At the same time, you inherited the most supreme bloodline of your father and mother. Your soul root was too powerful. It was so powerful that 90% of it had to be sealed, and its potential was suppressed infinitely in order for it to survive. Otherwise, the complete state of the soul root was not something that you could withstand when you were young. Even if 90% of your soul root was sealed, it still had a huge impact on you when you were young. Therefore, based on some other circumstances, your father sent you into this world. This was because this world had the most special reincarnation cycle. The foundation of reincarnation was in this world. Under the condition that 90% of your soul root was sealed, and with the suppression of the complete reincarnation aura in this four-dimensional world, it would allow you to grow up normally and gradually unlock the seal as you become stronger. At the same time, with your powerful soul root and endless potential, since ancient times, you were the only one who had the hope of controlling the complete reincarnation cycle in your hands. Your father and mother hoped that you could grow up normally in this four-dimensional world and slowly control the complete reincarnation cycle in your hands. The stone seal contained everything, whether it was your identity, the sealing of your soul root, the reason why you were sent to this world, or the sane art that unsealed your soul root. All of it existed in this stone seal. And the reason why the stone seal contained all of this was also related to your overly powerful soul root. Due to the influence of your soul root, when you were still young and had yet to embark on the path of cultivation, the information could not be imprinted in your mind at all. It could only be transmitted through external objects. He looked at Lin Tian and said, "This is everything that has happened in the past." Lin Tianyi listened quietly until an old drunkard finished speaking and understood the ins and outs of everything. For a moment, he could not help but be a little dazed. Beside him, the rest of the people were also listening quietly. At this time, each of them had a look of shock in their eyes. They looked at Lin Tian as if they were looking at a monster. The current Lin Tian was absolutely terrifying and extremely monstrous. However, even so, his soul root was still in a state where 90% of it was sealed. At this moment, After listening to everything, everyone understood why an old drunkard said that whether it was himself, Lin Tian's father, or Lin Tian's mother, their potential was far inferior to Lin Tian's. With 90% of his soul root sealed, his potential was infinitely suppressed. Under such circumstances, Lin Tian could be so monstrous. In the future, once his soul root was completely unsealed, how terrifying would it be? There was no need to think at all. There was no need to doubt at all. He was definitely the first person in history to do so. Father, you're so powerful. Ruoxian's eyes completely lit up. Everyone else was shocked. Even someone as calm as Wu Yi's eyes could not help but fluctuate. Super monster. Whooshing crocodile scales could not help but stand up. This was really too terrifying. You're simply, the old gangster stared at Lin Tian and could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. In the past, he always felt that the human king was not like a human because he was too strong. But now, he felt that Lin Tian was even less like a human. Lin Tian was in a daze. It was not until 10 breaths later that he recovered slightly. There were actually so many things about him. An old drunkard looked at him and smiled gently. In the past few decades, your cultivation has been much faster than before. It's almost as if you've become a different person, right? That's because of the unforeseen event in the illusory flame star ocean and your recollections of the past. The seal on your soul root was forcefully broken a little, and some of the sealed potential flowed out. However, it's still in a state of 90% sealed. As he spoke, he flicked his finger, and the stone seal immediately turned into a ray of light and entered Lin Tian's body. Your father left his soul consciousness in it, but when I opened it before, the soul consciousness was no longer there. He said, the saint technique to break the seal on your soul root is stored in this stone seal. With your current cultivation, you can break 40% of the seal. Remember, you can only break 40% of the seal now. Don't try to break the 5th seal. With your current cultivation, you won't be able to bear it. If you're not careful, your body and soul will be destroyed. Also, don't break 40% of the seal in this world. With your current strength, the 9th dimension is far from suitable for you to ascend, and you won't be able to ascend. After that, go to the 5th dimension to break the seal. In a short period of time after you break the seal, endless saint energy and Tao energy will automatically surge in from all directions. It will be very beneficial to you. Lin Tian nodded and said seriously, yes, master, I'll remember. Chapter 2352. Listening to an old drunkard's words, Lin Tianji felt that everything had become extremely clear at this moment, as if the thick dark clouds that covered the sky had dispersed at this moment. At this moment, because of the stone seal, he could clearly see the soul root in the depths of his soul. There were extremely dense saint inscriptions on it, similar to the saint inscriptions on the stone seal, sealing his soul root layer by layer. After a few more breaths, the stone seal had completely fused with him, turning into his possession and floating in his sea of consciousness. He looked at the old drunkard and asked, by the way, master, He paused for a moment as he was not used to it. However, he still corrected himself and said, father and mother, they want me to control the complete cycle of reincarnation. Before that, do I need to stay in this four-dimensional world? There's no need. An old drunkard said, only the initial control can be done in this world. Now that you've controlled a trace of reincarnation, you can comprehend it anywhere else. There's no need to stay in this world. What's more, reincarnation is the most special. Although the foundation of reincarnation lies in this four-dimensional world, reincarnation exists in every corner of the world. However, the reincarnation that exists outside of this world cannot allow one to control this power from the very beginning. Lin Tian understood. At the same time, he could not help but think about the matter of controlling the complete cycle of reincarnation. Because he had controlled a trace of reincarnation, he knew best just how difficult it was to completely control this power. Even though he had seen his soul root clearly through the stone seal and sensed how terrifying it was, he still did not have much confidence in controlling the complete cycle of reincarnation. This was because it was just too difficult. An old drunkard naturally knew what he was thinking. He said gently, "Don't worry. Your father and mother are full of confidence in you. I also completely believe that you can control the complete cycle of reincarnation." Lin Tian nodded vigorously. His father, mother, and master were all full of confidence in him. No matter how difficult the complete cycle of reincarnation was, he had to control it. At the same time, he thought of a question and asked, "Master, why do father and mother want me to control the complete cycle of reincarnation?" He was sure that his parents definitely didn't want him to control the complete cycle of reincarnation simply because it was incomparably powerful. There should be some other deeper meaning. Then he continued, "Also, Master, you said before that you and Master's wife projected your soul remembrance into this world for a similar purpose as father and mother. What's the connection between them? Why did you and Master's project your soul into this four-dimensional world?" Upon hearing his question, Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos, Celestial Venerable, Solar Celestial Venerable, and the others all looked at an old drunkard. When it came to why their master and master's wife had projected their soul remembrances into this world, they were naturally very concerned. At the same time, the others also looked at an old drunkard. Everyone was curious. What was the reason for the Supreme Being of heaven and earth to project his psyche to this world? Because it was obvious that an old drunkard and Qin Xian didn't project their soul remembrances here for reincarnation, but for something else. An old drunkard smiled faintly, and his eyes became more profound. He said, "To find the 10 directions, ancient star." Lin Tian was stunned when he heard this. 10 directions, ancient star? 10 directions, celestial domain? He revealed a strange expression. His master and masteress projected their soul remembrances into this world to find the 10 directions, ancient star? At the same time, the others were also puzzled. An invincible supreme being of heaven and earth, a powerful being of the 9th dimension, projected their soul remembrances into this world just to find an extremely small star? Everyone here knew that the 10 directions ancient star was just an extremely small star. Even Wu, he was a little surprised and moved. An old drunkard looked at Lin Tian and said, "Back then, the old patriarch's small tribe was not far from the 10 directions ancient star. Do you know what Luan Hui Wang passed by there to find? It was because he sensed a very special aura from the 10 directions ancient star in a very short period of time. So he passed by there to find the 10 directions ancient star. However, it was only for a moment. At his level, he could only sense it with the help of reincarnation. That was already a miracle. At his level, he couldn't understand the special aura emitted by the 10 directions ancient star at that time. Even if he stood in front of that star, he couldn't sense its uniqueness. That ancient star was not a star of this world. It was the core of a sacred land. For some reason, it fell into this world and turned into a star. He looked at Lin Tian and said, "The reason why your masteress and I are looking for it is the same as the reason why your parents want you to control the complete reincarnation." "What's the reason?" Lin Tian asked. The others also looked at an old drunkard. However, an old drunkard didn't continue. "Right now, you are far from the level where you can know the truth. Telling you the truth will only add to the useless pressure. It will do more harm than good." As he said this, his body suddenly became fainter. Seeing this, Lin Tian's expression changed. "Master," seeing that his teacher's body had become fainter, he no longer thought about the 10 directions ancient star. Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Celestial, and the other 8 also changed their expressions. They couldn't help but become anxious. Grandmaster, Ruoxian also looked worried. Yi Tong and Little Fox were also worried. This was their master's master. Just like Ruoxian, he was their grandmaster. How could they not be worried? "Don't worry. Didn't I say that it's just a strand of soul? It's not a big deal." An old drunkard still had a gentle smile on his face. He looked at Fengshen Tianzuan and tapped his right hand slightly. A ray of light entered between Fengshen Tianzuan's eyebrows. "Little one, Master has refined the Human King Valley. It's now floating in multiple spacetimes. I'll leave the activation technique to you. You'll be in charge of the Human King Valley in the future. In addition, Master has left a space-time, chaotic region inside. It's simulated with thousands of living beings. You little 2 and little 3 can cultivate there. Master has prepared some things for you in the thatch hut in the center of the Human King Valley. The faint light entered between Fengshen Tianzuan's eyebrows. In an instant, everything about the Human King Valley was under Fengshen Tianzuan's control. Master, are you and Mistress leaving? The first disciple under the Human King was a little anxious. At the same time, Lin Tian was also moved. He looked at an old drunkard. Primal Chaos Celestial Venerable, Solar Celestial Venerable, and the others also looked at an old drunkard. From the looks of it, their esteemed teacher was clearly explaining something to them. An old drunkard nodded and said with a smile, "We've already achieved our goal by projecting our souls into this world. We've found the 10 Directions ancient star and made layers of arrangements. Now Little 10 has avenged the old patriarch and the others. There's no need for us to stay. With the power of our souls, we'll do something for you." Lin Tian, Fengshen Tianzuan, and the others were moved again. They wanted to say something, but an old drunkard raised his hand and stopped them. With a gentle smile, an old drunkard tilted his head and looked at Ruoxian. "Youngest one in our bloodline, Grandmaster has never given you a proper gift. Before this soul dissipates, I'll give you one." His right hand formed a sword finger and pointed at Ruoxian's forehead. Immediately, the aura of space-time rolled out. It was extremely gentle and continuously poured into Ruoxian's forehead, causing her to tremble. Then, rings of Saint Runes began to appear in her beautiful eyes. Only when 9 rings of Saint Runes appeared in both eyes did the changes stop. For a moment, Ruoxian's body began to emit strands of space-time aura, while old drunkard's aura dissipated at an extremely fast speed, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Space-time eye. The immortal spirit progenitor was shocked. He stared unblinkingly at Ruoxian's eyes. Beside him, Shun Qi, Mu Xingshu, and the others couldn't help but feel their eyelids twitch. They naturally recognized this pair of divine eyes. Space-time eye. One of the 3 ultimate divine eyes in the 4-dimensional world. At the same time, they were also shocked by an old drunkard's methods. He could actually control the space-time eye and space-time power, and give it to another person so easily. This was too frightening. Lin Tian was also moved. His expression changed slightly. He naturally knew that his master controlled the space-time eye. Now he had actually given it to Ruoxian. Master this, even Wu Yi couldn't help but be moved. Ruoxian's expression also changed. She sensed the changes in her eyes. Everything in the world became incomparably clear. She could see the endless distance and clearly feel the energy of space-time. Then, from the immortal spirit progenitor's words, she knew that this was the space-time eye. Her Grandmaster had actually given it to her. "Grandmaster, this is an important power to you. How can you give it to Ruoxian? You should quickly take it back." An old drunkard smiled faintly. He gave the space-time eye and space-time law to Ruoxian. His body became even fainter. He patted Ruoxian's head and said, "To Grandmaster, this power is nothing. Don't think too much." Ruoxian said, "But, no buts. Use this pair of eyes well. Although it can't compare to your father's Rinnegan, it has many wonderful uses. You can control it for a while and quickly become familiar with it." An old drunkard said. Ruoxian still wanted to say something, but was interrupted by the old drunkard with a smile. After which, the old drunkard told her about the strength that his actual body possessed. Only then did Ruoxian completely calm down. After which, she became extremely pleasantly surprised. "Thank you, Grandmaster," she said happily. The space-time eye. Although it was nothing to her Grandmaster, it was really a great gift to her. Lin Tian also spoke. Looking at an old drunkard, he said, "Thank you, Master." Next to him, Wu Yi also expressed his thanks. An old drunkard waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to worry. Finally, he looked at Lin Tian and said, "Little 10, with your capital and potential, you don't need Master to give you anything. In the future, work hard to understand reincarnation. You will definitely be able to control the complete reincarnation." Yes, master. This disciple will work hard and not let master down, Lin Tian said seriously. An old drunkard nodded with a smile and rubbed his head. His body became fainter and fainter. Next to him, Qing Xian's body also became fainter and fainter at this time. In reincarnation, we return to our original appearance. Now, the appearance of your master's wife and I is our original appearance. In the ninth dimension, master is still the king. He looked at Lin Tian, Fengshen Tianzuan, Hunan Tianzuan, and the other 9 people, and said gently, Little 10, little 1, little 2, little 3, little 4, little 5, little 6, little 7, little 8, little 9, come to the ninth dimension. Your master's wife and I will wait for you in the ninth dimension. Chapter 2353. As he watched an old drunkard and Qing Xian disappear, Lin Tianwei was somewhat stunned. Only after several breaths had passed did he regain his senses slightly. Master, mistress, my senior brothers, and I will definitely go to the ninth dimension to find you soon, he said to himself, his expression very serious. Fengshen Tianzuan, primal chaos, heavenly venerable, and the other 8 all had solemn expressions, and they could not help but clench their fists. We will definitely work hard, Fengshen Tianzuan said. Ruoxian also stared at the spot where an old drunkard and Qing Xian had disappeared in a daze. Master and mistress really left. The immortal spirit ancestor and the others were also somewhat dumbfounded. The human king. The old hoodlum sighed. In the past, he only knew that the human king was very powerful, but he did not expect him to be so powerful. He was actually the supreme being of the world in the ninth dimension. On that day, they learned too many shocking things from the human king. The world was actually much bigger than they had imagined, and there were actually 5 worlds in a higher dimension above this world. At the same time, he was also shocked by Lin Tian's background. He was actually the son of the celestial emperor and the goddess in the ninth dimension. It was too frightening. The broken universe in this place became much quieter for a time, and the wind of the universe blew past. It was not until several dozen breaths passed that the group finally regained their senses. Let's go back. Let's return to Hongming. Lin Tian looked at the group and said, he had killed the Celestial Court's true lord, Reincarnation King. Xin Tian, Xian Di, and the others had also died. He had taken revenge for the old patriarchs. In addition, the only origin world and all the Celestial Court's heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals had been refined and devoured by Reincarnation King. The Celestial Court could be said to have completely disappeared. Now this world could be said to have become truly peaceful. There was no need to continue staying in this place. Yes, let's go back. Ruoxian nodded and hugged Lin Tian's arm. Lin Tian rubbed Ruoxian's head lovingly. Then, together with Wu Yi, Bai Qiu, Ji Yu, Fengshen Tianzuan, and the others, they left the broken Xianwang universe and entered the primordial universe. After entering the primordial universe, Yi Tong, the little fox, and Snow Wolf mobilized 10 billion immortal soldiers and generals and returned to their respective immortal court branches. Lin Tian returned to the 10 Directions Ancient Star with Wu Yi and the others. Fengshen Tianzuan and the others also came. After returning to the 10 Directions Ancient Star, Lin Tian immediately went to the small spiritual domain in the ninth heaven. In the center of the small spiritual domain, broken ruins were everywhere. Grandpa, third uncle, third aunt, seventh uncle, Bei, Xiongzi Degu. He knelt down in front of the ruins and kowtowed to them. His forehead touched the dust on the ground. Little Blockhead has avenged you. Please rest in peace. Little Blockhead was a nickname given to him by the old patriarch. In ordinary tribes, adults would usually give their children nicknames. It was a kind of custom. He kowtowed to the ruins in front of him. For him, the old patriarch and the others were much more important than the father and mother he had never met. It was just like how little Taichu was much closer to him than his father and mother. They were all the same. Wu Yi, Ruoxian, and the others naturally followed him here. Fengshen Tianzuan and the primal chaos, heavenly venerable, also came together. quietly looking at Lin Tian from behind. After a few dozen breaths of time, Lin Tian stood up and put away the ruins together with the small spiritual domain. Then he returned to the Immortal Lyceum with Wu Yi and the others. After returning to the Immortal Lyceum, he moved the ruins together with the small spiritual domain to the deepest part of the Immortal Lyceum. The ruins in the small spiritual domain were equivalent to the cenotaph of the old patriarch and the others. Now, it was naturally the best to move it to the Immortal Lyceum. After that, he, Wu Yi, and the others, along with his 9 senior brothers, came to the martial arts arena of the Immortal Lyceum. On the martial arts arena, the immortal ancestor, the old gangster, and the others were all there. Bai Ziki, Fanning Xiong, and the others were also there, waiting for him here. Senior, I can't return the stars and worlds in your oracle bone fragment to you. I'm sorry. After coming to the martial arts arena and having a simple chat with the group, he opened his mouth and said to the old Taoist, feeling a little embarrassed. Previously, everyone had given their cultivation to him, and then an old drunkard had restored their cultivation. However, the stars and worlds in the old Taoist's oracle bone fragment had completely turned into spiritual energy and entered his flesh and blood. It was as if they had completely disappeared and could not be returned to the old Taoist, which made him feel a little apologetic. The old Taoist waved his hand and said, I already said that I'm returning your master's favor. Don't worry about it. If it weren't for your master, this old man would have kicked the bucket long ago. How could I live to this day? He said, besides, the significance of your battle is too great. Not only did you avenge your own blood feud, but you also avenged the deaths of hundreds of millions of living beings. You also protected this world and made it truly peaceful. Not to mention those insignificant stars and worlds. Even if you want this old man's life, I'll do it. Oh, old man, not bad. When did your awareness become so high? This is not like you at all. The old hooligan had a surprised look on his face. The old Taoist gave him a sidelong glance. Get lost. Lin Tian could not help but laugh. Now he was completely relaxed. Speaking of which, the human king said that this ancient star is extraordinary. Young man, would you like to explore it with us? The immortal spirit ancestor asked Lin Tiandao. At the same time, the old hooligan martial ancestor, primitive emperor, and the others also looked at Lin Tian. The reason why they left the Xianwang universe and came to this ancient star was firstly because Lin Tian was here. Secondly, and most importantly, they were very curious about this 10-directional ancient star. After all, this was the ancient star that the supremes of heaven and earth in the 9-dimensional heavens had projected their souls to find. And now Lin Tian was the strongest among them. He was in the profound heaven realm and had control over reincarnation. It was naturally best to have Lin Tian with them to explore this ancient star. All right, Lin Tian did not refuse. In fact, he was also very curious about this ancient star after learning that his master and mistress had come to this world for the 10-directional ancient star. He had planned to explore this ancient star in the future. On this day, he, the immortal spirit ancestor, and the others left the main immortal court. Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Heavenly Sovereign, by Ziki, Wuxing Crocodile, Fanning Xiong, and the others followed. Wu Yi, Ruoxian, and the others also followed. They slowly walked through every corner of the 10-directional ancient star. After a month, they had walked through every area of the 10-directional ancient star. However, they did not find anything out of the ordinary. Then, he and the others stepped out of the 10-directional ancient star and looked at the entire ancient star from the starry sky. However, they still did not find anything out of the ordinary. The only thing I can feel is hazy. Lin Tiandao's eyes shone with a strange luster. Standing in the starry sky, he looked down at the 10-directional ancient star. Although this ancient star was very small and could not be compared to the other stars nearby, it seemed to be shrouded in a veil, giving people a very hazy feeling. In fact, he had this feeling for a long time. Every time he returned to the 10-directional ancient star, he would have this hazy feeling. However, he had never paid attention to it because it was not a big deal. Now that he had learned about the extraordinariness of this ancient star from the old drunkard, he could not help but feel that the obscurity was not simple. This could actually be regarded as a kind of psychological cue reaction. Before he knew that this ancient star was very special, he felt that this kind of haze was nothing. However, after knowing that this ancient star was very special, he subconsciously began to feel that this kind of haze contained something very amazing. He also knew that this was a psychological cue, but now, even if he knew that this was a psychological cue, he still felt that this hazy feeling must be an unusual characteristic of this ancient star. However, even though he was sure of this, when he tried to understand this hazy feeling, he did not gain anything, even if he opened his Rinnegan. Immortal Spirit Ancestor and the others also saw this hazy feeling and also tried to explore, but naturally, they did not gain anything. According to Master's words, our current realm is far from the level where we can understand this ancient star. I'm afraid that no matter how much we explore now, it will be in vain. Fengshen Tianzuan said. Lin Tian nodded. He thought of an old drunkard's words and said, Senior brother is right. With our current realm, no matter what we do, we will not be able to understand what is so special about this ancient star. On this day, he and the others looked at this ancient star in the starry sky again. It was not until 3 days later that they really gave up exploring and re-entered this ancient star. Luanhui Wang's group and Xian Tian's group were all killed. The heavenly court was completely wiped out. This could be considered a true victory. On this day, the Immortal Court's main clan held a banquet. Everyone was toasting each other and celebrating without restraint. After a few days, Immortal Spirit Ancestor and the old drunkard left one after another and went to other places. Junior brother, let's go back to the Human King Valley. On this day, Fengshen Tianzuan and Lin Tiandao. Okay, senior brother. Lin Tian immediately replied. He had left the Human King Valley for a long time and had not returned for a long time. Now, he naturally wanted to go back and have a look. That place was also his home. At the same time, he also brought along Wu Yi, Ruoxian, and the others. Wuxing Crocodile, White Tiger, and Little Taichu were all very curious about the Human King Valley. After Fengshen Tianzuan used a secret technique to open the Human King Valley that was floating in multiple spacetimes, he followed Fengshen Tianzuan, Primal Chaos Heavenly Lord, and the others into the Human King Valley. The Human King Valley looked very ordinary. It was surrounded by dozens of short mountains and dozens of thatched cottages. It was no different from a simple mortal village. Outside the Human King Valley was a vast space surrounded by mountains and rivers. It was like a boundless big world. Stepping into the Human King Valley again, Lin Tian's eyes flickered when he saw the familiar short mountain and dozens of thatched cottages. It was as if he saw the scene of an old drunkard tempering his body, the scene of his 9 senior brothers taking care of him and teaching him cultivation, and the scene of his self-destructive cultivation when he was alone. After that, he stayed in the Human King Valley for a full month. It was not until a month later that he bid farewell to his 9 senior brothers and returned to the Immortal Court with Wu Yi, Ruoxian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu. After returning to the Immortal Court, he went to the Burning Sun sect in the First Heaven and briefly told the sect master and the Supreme Elder about an old drunkard in Qingxian. He learned that his master and master's wife had already told the sect master and the Supreme Elder about everything. Next, he stayed in the Burning Sun sect for 7 days. During these 7 days, he spent most of his time with the sect master and the Supreme Elder before returning to the main Immortal Court in the 9th Heaven. Let's go out for a walk. In the main Immortal Court, he smiled and said to Wu Yi and the others, Okay. Ruoxian immediately jumped over. He rubbed Ruoxian's head lovingly. On this day, he took Wu Yi and Ruoxian out of the Immortal Court again and stepped into the starry sky. It was a simple walk, a simple look at the mountains and rivers, and every moment with them was very warm. During this process, not long after, he learned one thing. In this four-dimensional world, in addition to reincarnation, fate, and space-time, there is another four-dimensional law, the law of cause and effect. Wu Yi mastered it 10 years ago, You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.